Right? Oh, I didn't change the freaking thumbnail. Gosh darn it, they're turning the freaking frogs gay. Okay, I changed the thumbnail. Hopefully it's not too late.
This channel is biased.
Oh, also there's like a Legal Eagle video about the channel being biased, which I am curious. Like, what? Legal Eagle is biased? I thought my Legal Eagle was a apolitical centrist who loved Trump or whatever. We're also gonna see Noah Samsen. Let's start with the Noah Samsen video. Also, did y'all see the I'm gonna say the AB stuff. There's so much with AB. I don't know necessarily why he's doubling down like this. Also, I don't know if y'all saw that he's doing a fundraiser for the PCRF. Then he made an Instagram story where he was like, "No, I'm not this isn't like a. This isn't to compete with Noah Samsen's fundraiser. I promise." Wait, he's a Republican? No, he's not a Republican. He's a freaking liberal. That was pretty interesting. But yeah, we're gonna get into Ethan Klein lawsuit response. See what Noah Samsen has to say for himself, which is kind of interesting because like, didn't Ethan give Noah a timeline? Right? Didn't Ethan give Noah a timeline? Was like, oh, you have a week. You have a week. But he did very clearly didn't have a week. Like he still hasn't like filed anything. That was like 2 months ago, or like a week ago, or what? Sorry, a month ago, not a week ago.
I'm no C. Today, I'm going to talk about being sued, or being threatened with a lawsuit, at least. I haven't actually been sued yet. Ethan Klein and Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers have said that they plan
Yeah, we're going to talk about the NYU student as well. It's on the docket.
On suing me for defamation. They're doing this in response to a video I posted in March called The YouTubers Who Backed a Genocide. I brought up these legal threats in another video of mine, but they decided to escalate things by paying a lawyer to write a cease and desist, which they sent to me in late March. And in it, they ordered me to retract my video within 3 weeks or get my little ass sued. Ethan Klein went on to...
Wait, how long ago was the video? I'm curious. Did I miss it?
Hey everyone, the Lost Ordinary Gamers have said, I haven't actually been sued yet. Ethan Klein and Mutahar from Some Ordinary Gamers have said that they plan on suing me for defamation.
Because if I want to talk about AB, I'm going to talk about AB. Gosh darn it, y'all ain't going to tell me what I can and cannot talk about.
Doing this in response to a video I posted in March called The YouTubers Who Backed a Genocide.
That was 2 months ago.
I live like a capitalist.
So he should have been sued by now.
I live as a capitalist.
Also has a million views. Honestly, I think that's what makes Ethan mad. Right? You can make a slop video on Ethan and he'll care, but like he'll laugh at you if you do it. Unless it gets a lot of views, then he's like, okay, I'm going to sue you. You know what I mean? That's it. So if this video got like 100,000 views, he would have been like, ah, your video failed. LOL, this is a failure of a video. You're a failure of a YouTuber. Haha, you suck or whatever. Right? But if it gets 1 million views, then he's like, okay, that's a step too far. That is a step too far. I'm going to sue you. I'm gonna sue you. Your video got 1 million views. That's it. Because he's a clout hungry clout chaser, right? He wants to be the person getting the millions of views. He doesn't want other people to get. He wants to get millions of views off of other people's names and other people's drama content, but he doesn't want to be the person that people use to get views. That's it. That's it. Which is why he got mad at Denims for having like 40,000 viewers reacting to the content nuke, right? Like if somebody else had, like, if I reacted to the content nuke or whatever, he's like, oh, look at this person, it only has 1,000 viewers, LOL. Farming and still can't have any viewers. Denim's having 40,000 viewers, more than he has. He's like, this is like, I mean, she's obviously stealing my content, right? She's obviously violating my copyright. And she's just kind of asking to be sued. You know what I mean? Like that's what he does. That is what he does. He's like, oh, you have 1,000 viewers watching my content? You loser. Less viewers than I do. You're a failed content creator. You have more viewers than him? Oh, you're stealing my content. How dare you? I'm going to sue you. That's how Ethan Klein operates. Also, I do want to point out that it's funny that like people are taking my my comment seriously. And if you notice, I make this comment under every one of my every one of the videos that I see, just because I haven't seen the video yet, so I didn't have anything to add. So I just say I'm trying to think this Ethan Klein guy is not a good person. And then people who are in my replies being like, oh, "You thought he was a good person up until now? Wow, that's crazy." I'm just like, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. It's very obviously sarcasm. Very obvious sarcasm. What are we doing? What are we talking about?
I brought up these legal threats in another video of mine, but they decided to escalate things by paying a lawyer to write a cease and desist, which they sent to me in late March. And in it, they ordered me to retract my video within 3 weeks or get my little ass sued. Ethan Klein went on to read the cease and desist on his live stream and repeat this threat over and over again on subsequent episodes.
He started his second video by saying, Ethan's threatened to sue me. It's not a threat.
I still can't believe you got this tattoo.
I'm going to sue you.
Oh.
Wait. I'm literally going to sue you for defamation.
Oh.
That's what a threat is. He's doing the whole, it's not a threat, it's a promise. It's still a threat. That's what a threat is. A threat is a promise of something happening in the future. Like, what are we talking about here? Right? If it wasn't a threat, he would have done it already. He would have been like, it's not a threat. I've already filed the lawsuit. Right? You're already being sued. You know what I mean? But now it's in 2 months, he still hasn't done it. Exactly. So it was a threat. It was a threat of legal action. It wasn't even a promise. It was very clearly a threat. Because he thought, oh, I'm gonna sue you, so you better shut up so I don't sue you.
Oh. Noah said in his second video, Ethan's
talking about this guy. Take a minute off.
Threatening to sue me. Have fun with that, I guess. He said, well, I'm about to have fun with it. And unfortunately, I don't think you're going to be having much fun with it.
He didn't respond to my video by his own admission. He just read what his lawyer wrote for him and then said that his full response would happen in court.
I know he wants me to respond to every point in his video.
What is wrong with chatter today? No, I didn't see this random obscure thing you're talking about that happened. Like, I'm sorry. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that is. People are coming here. Did you see that? Did you see Big Chungus stepped on Lil Gronk's, face? I'm like, what are we talking about here? No, I did not see that. What? No, I did not.
Which I will do in a much more formal setting.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
And I can't wait for you. You know, you can do your cute little videos and all that kinds of business on your YouTube channel. But when it comes to you know, I'd love to see you reason out in a court document about how I and Mudahar support genocide. I really look forward to that.
Despite all of
if he watched the video, he would see Noah Samsen reasoning out why him and Mudahar support genocide. It's in the video. It's not like he made a claim and then didn't back it up. The hurry up tomorrow, the weekend acts hella zesty in it. I have no idea what you're talking about, chatter. Like, none of these words are in the Bible. The hurry up tomorrow, the weekend acts hella zesty in it. What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
From these guys. As I said at the outset, I haven't been sued yet. It's been over 3 weeks since the retraction deadline, and as you may see on my channel, the video is still up. Here's a clip of the last time Ethan even mentioned it, which was over 2 weeks ago.
Noah Samsen, he has missed his deadline. Actually, Mudahar is in the chat. What did he say? Did you see that Noah's apparently moving out? Yeah, he's sorry, no video, been moving, etc. Video coming soon. It's amazing how nobody wants to respond to me. Everybody goes cold feet. If you're going to level an attack against me, the least you could do is respond.
God, I love this, man.
What does he mean? Like, you put the deadline out for him to respond to you. He didn't respond to you. Why you no sue him? Like, why is he like, oh, nobody ever wants to respond to me? Yeah, this is his answer. He's not responding to you. So are you not going to sue him? Like, what response do you want? Like, I don't know what response he wants.
won't you play with me? Why does no one want to play with me? Come on. Ever since the retraction deadline passed, the ball has been in Ethan's court. Not responding to a cease and desist is a response on its own, right?
Yeah.
According to these people, I'm still actively defaming them because my video is still public, so it's on them to do something about it. But again, aside from some beautiful bills, my mailbox remains empty. If you're wondering where I've been, there's a few reasons I haven't really been able to post much. I've had some personal things going on. I recently moved. I also got doxxed by a certain community of fans of a certain podcast, which I'll talk about in another video. But one of the things that I've been dealing with is preparing for the possibility of being sued. This is all new to me. I've never been sued and I've never sued anybody. So I had to spend some time and money learning about defamation law and talking to lawyers and free speech organizations. One thing I was definitely advised was to not post for a little while because, you know, anything said online would very likely be used against me in a potential lawsuit. Now, it is possible that these people...
Man, if only Ethan Klein got that advice. If only Ethan Klein got that advice.
Might still sue me because rich people can do whatever they want, whenever they want, including sue whoever they want at any time for any reason. But it's worth noting that Ethan has also been a bit preoccupied in recent weeks, going beast mode in some live debates in front of hundreds of thousands of people.
What?
What? You don't know what I'm talking about?
What is?
What? Yeah, it was on the list. You're lying.
Yeah. I got a free Rolex hat
dude.
from a friend of mine. I still wear it every now and then.
Yeah, and you're so... Oh, wow. Who knew? All right, listen, it's 5 o'clock. Like I said, I have a family to go to. I have 3 kids and a wife, and I know that you have a fucking cool-ass race car bed to sleep in, and I hope you enjoy that.
Okay, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
And dealing with another very real defamation lawsuit.
I am curious about, like, not like how normies, because normies didn't see it, how like people on TikTok who was like, people on TikTok are either, it's a coin flip between the most normie coded people and the most rabid crazy people you will ever see. Like, I want to know what some of them thought about the debate. And I'm not going live on TikTok to ask because they'll ban me again. They will ban me again. So I'll only go live on TikTok once I have something TikTok related to talk about.
That he's currently losing to a former billionaire, which is a thing that's actually happening right now. He could be
former billionaire? What does that even mean? Did he lose his billions? Honestly, that's pretty funny.
On the hook for
former billionaire is like an objectively funny classification for somebody to have.
A lot of money, which is crazy. So maybe he's just busy and going to get around to it eventually. Personally, though, I don't think they're going to follow through with these threats for a few reasons, but the biggest one is just that they don't have a case. I think it's pretty clear that this cease and desist was sent to me with one goal, which was intimidation. It was an attempt to silence my criticism of these creators' genocide, apologia, and participation in baseless smear campaigns against pro-Palestine creators and movements.
All he has to do to avoid getting sued is apologize for everything he said and did, admit he was either lying or ignorant, and erase the video, and also disgrace, like, and just accept the disgrace that is basically lying about 2 people being pro-genocide, which is one of the most twisted, fucked up things you can accuse someone of.
This sort of thing often works because most people...
Well, maybe then just don't be pro-genocide. I don't know what to tell you.
People just don't have the resources to deal with a lawsuit. In my case, I don't have the resources either, but what I do have is you, an audience of people that have been very vocally supportive of the potential for contributing to a legal fund. I'll be honest though, I would prefer it if they didn't sue me. Not because I think they have a case, nor because I don't think we can raise the money. It's just that I don't feel comfortable fundraising for legal fees right now, given the many better places that money could go, like aid for the people being subjected to this ongoing genocide. Seeing as they haven't sued me yet, that's what we're gonna do. That's what this video is for. It's a fundraising video. I started a fundraiser for UNRWA, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. The donation link is in the description. I'll also be hosting a fundraising live stream with some special guests and some gaming and hanging out and other things of the sort, which will start on Saturday, May 17th at 2 p.m. Pacific time, and probably go for a few...
Before you ask, chat, no, I was not invited.
few days. I don't usually stream, but I'm thinking of playing some games, maybe set up an air mattress and do a sleeping stream. I've seen that before. It looks fun. I've set the goal at $200,000 because that's what I was actually quoted as being a safe amount to fundraise in order to be able to afford a potential prolonged legal
I think it's fine.
battle against Ethan and Mutahar, which is crazy, right? That's a lot of money. But I was also thinking we could show
anyway. Yeah, just rock up to I don't even know where he is.
Them that that's a figure we can achieve if we need to, and instead of it going to a lawyer for some bullshit YouTuber lawsuit, it would go to Gaza. If these guys actually do decide to sue me though, in terms of the actual lawsuit, again, I'm not too worried. I told the truth and said what I believed, and I'm prepared to defend it in court should it make it that far. If that does happen, I'll just do another fundraiser, I guess, and then we can donate whatever we don't use once the case gets dropped. It could be a little or it could be a lot. That all depends on how long these guys want to drag this out. I want to talk a bit more.
Honestly, maybe I will.
About the case, the cease and desist, and a few other things. But first, we need to do a sponsor break. I gotta do sponsors because my videos get demonetized and I don't post that much. Support me on Patreon if you want to stop seeing them. Thank you to Delete Me for sponsoring this video. Delete Me is a data removal service that makes securing your online privacy simple.
I use Delete Me.
Affordable and effective. Your personal data is being sold online by data brokers. Anyone can buy them, which means you're potentially at risk of being harassed.
If you want me to sue Noah, make sure you drop a Prime sub in the chat. It's free for you and you're taking money directly out of Amazon's pocket. If you have an Amazon Prime account, just go ahead and connect it with your Twitch account. You get one free sub a month. Make sure you use it on me and me alone. It only works on me. It doesn't work on anybody else but me. And if you want me to sue Noah for not inviting me to his live stream, you should give me your Prime sub. True and based in real. It only works here. You can subscribe using tier 1 or with money anywhere, including here. You can use it right here, right now. You can go ahead and test it right now. Just use it. It costs $6. It's less than a Starbucks cup of coffee, which you should not be drinking because it's BDS anyway. Why would you even considering drinking Starbucks coffee? Exactly. So you should be using that money on me instead. Do regular subs count as a lawsuit vote? Yes. Girl, the boycott. Exactly.
Or attacked due to any publicly expressed political views, opinion.
32 months sub to Hasan is fake. No, just that it doesn't work anymore. Don't even try it anymore. You have to try it here.
Or even, your occupation. Delete Me offers comprehensive scanning across hundreds of data brokers, including emails, phone numbers, social media accounts, physical addresses, and more. The process is really simple. First, you'll fill out a search removal form. Then once you pay securely, Delete Me will begin the process immediately. You can also request custom removals by sending specific links and run online scans to self-select the data that you want removed. I've used and trust Delete Me because
this is what he gets for not inviting Sean.
True. Noobzor 2 hands. Thank you for the 3-month resubscription. Much appreciated.
As an online public figure, it's obviously a helpful option to have, but I think those benefits also extend to anyone with any sort of online presence, which is most people. Take control of your digital footprint today and protect your personal data with Delete Me, your trusted partner in online privacy. Get 20% off Delete Me consumer plans when you go to joindeleteme.com/Samsen and use my promo code Samsen at checkout. All right, now let's get back to the video. Okay, so about that defamation case, it really seems like none of the people that are supporting or promoting this lawsuit have any clue what defamation actually is. So I want to go over that very briefly.
Calling somebody a supporter of a genocide is a very different thing than saying somebody's career is cooked or saying that somebody fell off or making a video about an internet drama. One of them is a real legitimate thing where people are bad.
Sorry, I muted myself. I like it when stupid people try to talk about the law like they know the law, right? When I talk about the law, I'll say very clearly, I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. This is defamation. Right? But like Asmongold being like, well, based. It's very different things to say someone supports genocide is saying somebody is cooked and felled off. Run is very clearly defamation. Like, sure.
And the fact is that this is totally different than just a drama slop thing. This is completely different.
For someone to be found liable for defamation, there's a few bars that need to be reached. First, the plaintiff must establish that the allegedly defamatory claim is a statement of fact. Next, that statement of fact must be provably false. It also must have caused demonstrable damages to the plaintiff's finances or reputation. And lastly, the statement has to have been made with actual malice. Actual malice is a legal standard. It's the highest legal standard for defamation claims, and it's only applied to public figures. Basically, it means that the defamatory statements have to be proven to have been made with the existing knowledge that these statements were false. Now, the first hurdle of Ethan and Mutahar's lawsuit threat is establishing that claim 1, that they backed the genocide, evidenced by my video's title and thumbnail, is a provably false statement of fact. They immediately fail here, though, because it's not a statement of fact, it's an opinion. It's the conclusion of the arguments and evidence I presented in my video. In defamation cases, when distinguishing between opinion and fact, the broader context of where the statements were made must be considered. In the cease and desist, the lawyer they paid to write it for them chose to ignore this broader context, opting instead to single out one word in the video's title, the word backed, characterize that word using one definition from a single source, and then argue that that word, solely using the definition.
In order for this lawyer to be correct and for this statement to be true, they have to essentially disregard the way that the English language has historically worked, in that a word can have different meanings. And you can't just be like, It's like you make a claim like, oh, you hold water for Israel. And you're like, what? That's not true. According to Webster's dictionary, hold water means that I physically carry water. And I've never physically carried water to support Israel in any point of my life. But like, holding water is a very common turn of phrase that means to run defense for, right? Like, you don't, like any good lawyer is not going to sit there and be like, well, this one specific usage of hold water, meaning to physically actually hold water for something, my client never did. Therefore, you're incorrect. When there is a very common, right, idiom, or it is a very common idiom for defending. And so if you've defended the state of Israel, that claim is not false, right? And it's not even about the claim being false specifically. It's about the person who's making the claim believing that it's false. Is there reason to believe that the person making the claim believed that you were defending the state of Israel? If so, then it's not defamation for them to make the claim that you are running defense for Israel, right? You would first have to prove that, one, you weren't running defense for Israel, right? Two, that the phrase holding water only means physically holding water for Israel. And three, that the person who's making the claim knew that you weren't defending Israel and knew that the term holding water was not referring to defending Israel and only referring to physically holding water for your defamation to hold any water at all. And I don't think that they have a good enough claim to that.
They've interpreted it to mean is a statement of fact and also a false one. And not only that, but this falsehood is one that I lied about maliciously. When evaluating defamation claims, headlines are not typically treated as statements of fact when the articles themselves explain how this conclusion was reached. That's what my video was for. It was an hour long. I know for a fact that Ethan accused me of defaming him before he'd even watched it, based on the title and the thumbnail alone. If I had to guess, I would say
also,
that
okay. This is kind of separate, but I saw this when I opened up Twitter for a second. Did y'all see this guy on Tinder who had swiped right 2 million times and got a single date? Did y'all see that conversation? Yes. No. Okay. Just a brief aside, because it's kind of funny. Guy on Tinder swiped right 2 million times and got one date. It's time to Thailand, Max, bro. Your Tinder insights. On Tinder for 5 years and 93 days. 26 years old. You swipe right 2,058,473 times. He swiped left on 40,000 people. So he swiped that many times. Swipe left on 30,000 people. Swipe right on 2 million people. He got 2,000 matches. 2,000 matches out of 2 million right swipes. Like, that's worse than like the average guy. There's already a disparity by the amount of guys, right, and the amount of women on Tinder in the first place, right? But like, that's like 0.1%. No, it's less than 0.1%. That's 2,000 divided by 2 million. It's 2,000. 20,000, 200,000, 2 million. Then times 100. Yeah, it is 0.1%. I was correct. 0.05? No, you're incorrect. It's 0.1%. Man, Chad is so confident in being incorrect. You say 1,000 matches? I never said 1,000 matches. I said 2,000 matches. Listen, chat, listen. And of the 2,000 matches, there was half, 50% of the people he matched with chatted with him.
619 just subscribed.
So he had 1,269, nice, chats. And of those chats, he got one date that led to 0 relationships or casual sex. And honestly, people are like, oh, it's the fish. I don't even think it's the fish. Right? Like, I think what's more repulsive than the fish, which I think that's part of it, is his hoodie. Genuinely, I think his hoodie would put women off more than the fish. But the fish, in conjunction with the hoodie, in conjunction with what's going on up here, like, I think that causes most of the left swipes he gets. Right? Not even to mention whatever else is in his profile. If you have platonic female relationships, he would have a girlfriend. Like, I have questions. Number one, did he post this himself? Like, how did this person get this information? I need to see what he has to say. Because there has to, even, I assume it was on Reddit, right? Even with this picture and this picture with the fish, and if I'm not home, you can find me at the lake, like, and then even with this picture, I've seen people who look worse, who have worse vibes in relationships, right? There are like just under 50% of the population of the world are women, right? There are millions of women in this country specifically. And there are so many women who have zero standards. And so when I see things like this, right? When I see things like this or situations like this, these people do not want to be in relationships. They don't. Let's see. Average pickiness. How many people you swipe right on compared to the average male/female user? 98%. There's only wait, okay. Who are the 2 other percent? Who are the 2 other percent of people that beat him out? If this person who swipes right on 2 million people and only swipes left on 30,000 people, they have to be bots, right? The other 2% have to be bots that only swipe right. You match with 0.1% of the people you swiped right on. Women match with 33% of the people that swipe right on. Men match with 2.5% of the people that swipe right on. Which this disparity is already bad, but like, bro. Average numbers of swipe per day. How many times you swipe per day compared to the average male/female? 2,000? It's saying he swipes right 98% of the time, not 98th percentile. Maybe you're correct. Isn't the logic that you can always say no after the match? It's just better to swipe right so you have more options? No, that's stupid. Like that, like when you start min-maxing dating apps, it's when you're never gonna get anything. Like how do you even swipe right 2,000 times? When I was on Tinder back in the day, like I couldn't do it, bro. Couldn't do it. But my ex-wife on Match.com. The real question is, why would you post this? I don't know. He didn't even post it with any like, kind of as a flex, maybe. If you're not trying to go fishing, I don't want it. My idea of vacation is going to the desert and looking for snakes for a week. I may or may not currently own 33 snakes. Honestly, I think his captions are more repulsive than the pictures himself. Like, him holding a fish in every picture, repulsive. But like, women can get past that, right? Him being like, if you're not trying to go fishing, I don't want it. My idea of vacation is going to the desert and looking for snakes. Like, I think that puts more women off than like just this. Setting off my faker a bit alarms. I mean, maybe. Bro, where's his hair? Like, I'm sorry. He's 26. Just shave it off. Interest, country music, memes, fishing, mountains, camping. Monogamy, Pisces, high school, not sure yet, prefer not to say. Wait. For the question about is he vaxxed or not, he says prefer not to say. I'm pretty sure that's what this question is, right? Because it has a mask here. I haven't been on Tinder since COVID days, so I don't know. I don't have Tinder installed. I don't know why I opened up my phone. I got Tinder installed. Somebody who's on Tinder tell me that I was a football. No. That's a mask. Big time texter, thoughtful gestures. Equipment operator at Do Not Worry About It. Education none. Lives in Evergreen. Like, he just gives bad vibes. You know what I mean? Also, what is this song? Digging by Colt Ford. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see.
Was Caterpillar yellow. He's a heller of a feller, a drinking storyteller with a DUI. He's illegal to drive, but illegally drinks and gets illegally high. Then one night while he's up to the sky, he looked at that backhoe, asked himself, why not? I'm gonna drive that thing. It's a loophole, man. This DUI don't pertain. I'm gonna drive it to the...
Something I've learned is that people are just too honest on dating apps. If you've had no success with dating apps, number one, if you're a guy, that's by design. Like, just by the structure of how dating apps operate, if you are a guy, if you are a male, you are supposed to have no success on dating apps because it keeps you on longer and they can sell you the premium versions. Right? And it's just a numbers game. If every woman on a dating app matched with every like man on a dating app, that proportional to the amount of women, there will still be like thousands upon millions of men with nobody there, right? It's like a ratio of like 9 to 1, right? For every one woman, there's like 9 to 10 men, right? So it's by design, number one. So your batting average is already low. Number two,
I live like a capitalist every single day, Chank. I live as a...
So they have the 10-month subscription.
Sugar 961 just subscribed. Chat, have we found Sean's new song?
I'm not listening to the song. It's not even good enough to be a meme song. Number two, people are too honest on dating apps. Like, don't put this as your favorite song. Even if this is your favorite song, do not put this as your favorite song. Do you know what you put as your favorite song? Drake. Maybe not anymore after last year. But like, up until like 2024, Drake. You put Drake. You put like the popular song. That's what you do. Right? Sabrina Carpenter. Bryson Tiller. You put like regular, like, you look at like Billboard Top 100. And you're like, oh yeah, Luther. You know, that's my favorite song. Or if you don't want to be like, you don't want to be hipster, you scroll down. It's like number 90. Right? And you're like, yeah, Old Phone by Ed Sheeran. That song goes crazy. I like Busy Woman by Sabrina Carpenter. Right? And if you're going to go like country, go like, yeah, like Smile by Morgan Wallen or something. Like, just go with a popular, well-known song. It does not benefit you. It does not help you, right, to be hipster on dating apps. Or a classic. Your song choice is a doorway to a conversation. It's a doorway to it's a conversation starter. Are people going to ask you about your song choice when it's Diggin' by Colt Ford? And if they do you have anything to say about it? Can you explain why you like it? Be yourself? Oh wait, no, not like that. No, if this is yourself, don't be yourself. Like, I'm sorry. Like, not on dating apps. Not on dating apps. You can be yourself in person, and you should be yourself in person. But on dating apps, you have to be what is approachable. Don't wear your sit your ass on my face hoodie in your picture for your dating app. Don't do that. I don't care if that's so you. The message is not going to come across well across the digital medium. It's just not. Now, if you're in person, right? If you're in person, women have a lot more leeway about somebody in their local area in person than they do on dating apps. Dating apps are inherently exclusive, not even just for women, but for everybody on there, because you get to see so many people. And so if you're a woman on a dating app, you are allowed to be picky, right? You are allowed to be picky. But in person, it's a lot easier to lower your standards because you are that person in real life, right? You see that person in real life. That person is accessible to you, right? So the way that you conduct yourself on a dating app has to be different than the way that you conduct yourself in real life. You can love fishing, especially if you're in a fishing town, right? Like Rebecca, who works at the bait and tackle shop, probably loves that you love fishing. You have a very good chance with Rebecca at the bait and tackle shop. You feel me? If you love fishing, you have a very good chance at that. But online, it's a different story. Online, you have to present yourself in a different way. I'm not saying be a fake person, but Tinder is social media. Bumble is social media. Hinge is social media. The same way that you have to put on sort of a character of yourself, even if it's mostly you, to succeed as a creator on social media, as a poster on social media, you have to do the same thing on you have to do the same thing on freaking Tinder. Do I need to use apps to meet people? No, but you have to go outside if you don't. Like, I met my current girlfriend by going outside. Like, I didn't have like much success on dating apps. Not like I didn't get any matches, but like I just didn't want to go meet people because I hated meeting people from apps. Also, I didn't have a great experience with it. I would have a bunch of matches, but I just never message people because I'm just like, ugh. I hated doing that whole thing. It felt like a game, you know, like a gross waltz, if you will. You have to be like, oh, what do you like? What are you into? Do you like sports? And like, you don't really care. And then they'd be like, oh, you know, we should go out sometime. And especially if you're if you're a guy, it's on you to like plan the dates and pick the times and pick what you do. And having to do that for multiple people consistently over weeks upon weeks upon weeks, I just like, I don't care. Right? I don't care. You know what I mean? The back and forth messaging is so boilerplate. Yeah, and I hated it. I hated it. And so if you meet somebody in person, you skip past all of that preamble, right? To be like, oh, I think you're cute. You think I'm cute. Let's go do something. When I met my current girlfriend, we met at a bar through mutual friends. And after that night, right after I got her number, we texted and we scheduled another date like that week. And we went to get like Italian food. Yeah, it was simple. It was easy. Funny seeing how many people hate dating apps but are more comfortable blasting messages in Twitch chat. I mean, you're not trying to date Twitch chat. I mean, or you shouldn't be trying to date Twitch chat. as requested by many, my profile, which I have swiped over 1 million times. I'm not only shit for having a fish pic in my profile, but let's be honest, it wouldn't change a thing if I removed it. Oh, that's rough. Not his picture, that's rough. It's, you can see the process of him losing his hair. This is him 2 years ago, and this is him now. Like, you gotta get rid of it. You gotta get rid of it. Like, I'm sorry. Can we get more matches than 55 male Wyoming? I preferred age set to 18 to 19. My bio is 22 Israeli flags. That's so funny. At 24? No, not here. Here, I understand why you're holding on, but like here, you gotta get rid of it. You're 26. Like honestly, I can spell this person. One, you need new glasses. Let me do this. Let me explain what he's doing wrong to help some of you chatters. Right? One, new glasses. You need new glasses. Two, shave the head. Actually, no, this is number one. Number one, shave the head. Number two, new glasses. Number three, you got to pick beard or no beard. I would say go no beard. Or if you're going to shave the head, keep the beard, but you have to grow it out a little bit. Four, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. Like, you just don't wear this hoodie. And number two, you need better style. Like, yeah, actually burn the hoodie. This is a good point. 5, you can keep the fish. All right. He loves the fish. But you need pictures where you don't have a fish. If you're going to have fish pictures, that's fine. Women can overlook 1 or 2 fish pictures, but you can't have 5 fish pictures, okay? If you're going to keep the fish, which you are going to keep the fish, you got to have some pictures of you without the fish. Have some pictures with your friends. And if you don't have that, have some pictures of you doing things you enjoy. Like, just pictures of you hanging out with the boys would be helpful. And if you don't have any male friends, you gotta find some male friends. That's just general. It's not necessary, but it will help you. So yeah, that's my advice. 1, shave the head. Your hair is you're not. You can start minoxidil now, and it won't help you for a while. Shave the head. Shave the head. I promise you it'll be better. 2, fix the frames. 3, fix the beard. 4, which is actually kind of number 0, burn the hoodie. 5, limit the fish pictures, which is technically 4.
The Dexing gifted a tier 1 sub to Summony Colex. They have given 7 gift subs in the channel.
Like he looks way better here, and this is a good little picture. This isn't bad. What happened? What happened? It's giving Seer photos from high school, and that's fine, I guess, to to the extent of like you're 24. But I think hitting 25, you should probably drop this picture. But like, I still think you should fix the frames. But like, I've seen people who look like this pull baddies. That guy could take my sister Red Robin. Like I have seen it. I have seen people who look like this pull baddies. Right? A dog picture? That's good. That's good. I'd still say, okay, take your finger out the fish's mouth. Wait. He has one date here. So you're telling me in the 2 years, from this one to this one, he had 1,000 more chats and no more dates. Not a single date. From this one to this one. Over 1,000 more chats. 1,000 more chats. And no dates. I promise you, out of 1,000, pick 1,000 random women, one of them will entertain you. Just to see. Just to see. Right? You will find one woman who's like, oh, he's a fixer-upper, you know. He's a fixer-upper. I need to see what he's saying. I need to see what he's saying in the chat logs. We know that he's an anti-masker. Potentially an anti-vaxxer. Get matches too, so it's not like he's getting any likes. Yeah. He has more matches. He got 1,300 more matches. 1,000 more chats. Right? Only 200 more no chats. 1,300 more matches. And of those 1,300 people, 1,000 people were chatting with him. And 1,000 people decided not to meet with him. Also, I wonder, can I see my old Tinder stats? Generated with Tinder Insights. Get your own charts. How do I get my data? Requested on Tinder website. You'll receive it in a few days via email. Oh. It'll take a few days? It'll take a few days, bro? Okay. I've not been on Tinder in like 2 years, by the way. I gave Tinder up for Hinge when I was in the dating pool. And then I gave Hinge up when I got a girlfriend, obviously. Guess who's going to jail tonight? Have to log in with freaking Google, bro. I don't remember what my Google account was. Nope, couldn't find Google. Nope. Does Tinder delete your accounts? I'm so curious. I just want my data, bro. Wait, hold on. Wait, no, my account's still here. Let's see. My last ever message was on 06/18/2024. I guess it was almost a year. Okay, what? How do I get my, I want my data, bro. Just give me my data. Let's see if I scroll down. Tinder data. So I can do it on my phone. I want a nerd girl that goes to church and read her Bible. Please log in to continue. I don't have a Google account. What do you mean? Oh, maybe it's maybe it's connected to my school's Google account. That I think they deactivated. So can I change my email? Anyway, sorry. Use Google email for dating apps? Well, there was Tinder U. So you match with more people from your school. Did you Chris about being investigated for his crimes? I did. Anyway,
Trump's
sorry.
attempt to kill.
I don't even remember what I was doing. You said I couldn't find my account. Why can't you find my account, bro? You're trying to force me to log in with Google. Well, I'm never getting my information. Guess we'll never see my Tinder stats. Anyway, that's my take on this guy. That's a roughie. Oh, we were talking about Ethan Klein. How do we even get to the Tinder guy? Sorry, I got totally distracted.
Decision to threaten a lawsuit came from this knee-jerk reaction to my video's title and thumbnail, and that knee-jerk reaction was never re-examined because it didn't need to be. Ethan has
money. I saw
money.
it scrolling through Twitter. That's what it was.
And time, and no one in his life that is willing to challenge him on something like this, especially not his lawyer who he is paying. So whatever he thinks and says is truth. So how do they go about trying to prove this claim of defamation? Well, it's pretty interesting. They actually go with the "no, I didn't" defense. They essentially claim, we couldn't have possibly supported a genocide.
You mean just white rate 40% while men do 46%? That's not surprising.
Because elsewhere we have said that we don't. We said that genocide is bad, so we are exempt from any criticism for any other things we may have said that do actually support a genocide. For this point, one of the quotes that they cite is Mutahar saying, "I'm not afraid to say that genocide is wrong." Wow, how brave of you, Mutahar. Brave. Aside from that being just false, Mutahar stayed silent on Gaza throughout the entirety of the genocide until it was time to join his friends on a Hasan bad smear campaign. If that's not fear, I don't know what you'd call it other than, I guess, cowardice. But even if it were true, it wouldn't matter. Pointing to examples of lip service doesn't just cancel out other things you've said. Like if someone says that they killed someone and then later says that they didn't, it's not defamation to talk about the first statement without quoting the latter. I didn't think that defense would end up being used by an actual lawyer, but it did, and that's hilarious. Their lawyer is aware of that too, of how unserious this is, as evidenced by his total lack of citations for any case law in this section. This whole claim, the one that's supposed to be the most prominent one, is just blank, and that's because there is no legal precedent for the "no, I didn't" defense. They're just completely going off vibes. The rest of the cease and desist is just sort of funny to read. A lot of it is them saying, "Your Honor, he clip chimped me. Your Honor, he literally didn't even watch the video." They spend like 3 pages attempting to debunk a Bad Empanada video essay because I cited it, which is just sort of awesome. It's been said plenty.
That is kind of a crazy use of time to be like, oh, Noah Samsen's the person making the claims, but he cited a Bad Empanada video, so let us now debunk the Bad Empanada video instead of Noah's usage of the claim.
Times already by Bad Empanada included, but you can't litigate a historical argument in civil court. That's not what civil court is for, and that's not what defamation is. There's one part in the letter where, in an attempt to evidence my malicious intent, their lawyer cites the disparity in the view counts of my videos, accusing me of the legal violation of clout farming. This statement demonstrates that you intended to not just have third parties spread defamatory statements about Ethan, but profit from those defamatory.
Okay, but does the profiting off the statements matter to defamation? Like, do the courts care? Again, I'm not a lawyer. Do the courts care if you made money off of the claim? It's the fact that you made the claim and you spread the claim that matters. It shouldn't matter if you've profited off of the claims. Haha, Your Honor. Don't you see? They made money off of the defamatory claims. Only damages should matter, really? Yeah, I'm just confused.
Statements. You proved this point yourself when your video entitled "Manufacturing Consent for Genocide" failed to receive many views, particularly in comparison to the first defamatory video. You made the second defamatory video to further profit from your defamatory statements about Ethan. Your Honor, Noah fell off and tried to climb back to relevance by putting my client's name in his mouth. I encourage people to make videos about Ethan because I think the things he's saying are harmful. I think he's spreading pro-Israel propaganda talking points.
Because money gains can show ill intent with the statement. Yeah, but that comes after the video is made, right? You would have to prove that Noah knew that like he would be making bank off of this video. Therefore, he made defamatory claims. On top of then proving that he knew the claims were defamatory, on top of then proving that that the claims were incorrect to begin with.
During Israel's active genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza. And so far, that's been happening. People are making videos and more people are being exposed to the arguments against these ideas that I think are harmful. Their assumption here, though, that these videos could only have been made for nefarious, self-interested aims, that's just pure projection. I think. For these guys, everything is about views and internet fame. You know, everyone is cynical and self-interested, and no one actually believes the things that they say insofar as those beliefs are able to get eyes on their content. There's no way you could be criticizing someone based on any sort of genuine political motive. No, you must just be wanting to jump in on the dog pile, to cash in and grow an audience of snarkers that are there not because they're against genocidal propaganda, but simply because they don't like you. For no reason. Even when you're being a perfect little angel.
They literally put fucking command centers under hospitals. There was more Jews displaced than Palestinians during the Nakba. 900,000 Jews were forced to choice, but because they were forced out, the vast majority went to fucking Arabs.
Maybe it's just because they're anti-Semitic. That's probably it. They're probably
also one of the interesting things about that claim that he made in the debate is that like he didn't claim that like the Arabs as like a totality made the Jews in the Middle East unsafe, therefore they need to move to Israel. He claimed that they made them Zionist, which is a like, you know, settler colonial ideology built on the eradication of the Palestinian people. Which is like why people were talking about that what he was saying was racist. Right? He's saying, oh, it's justified that these Jewish people became Zionists because the Arabs were mean to them, which then justifies their eradication of the Palestinian people. And Ethan didn't connect those dots. The Indians made us do manifest destiny. Not even like that. Like it would be more akin to like the Indians like made us conquer and subjugate the Haitian population, right? And justify the expansion into Haiti and the enslavement of like the Haitian population. Like, even if that was true, this is an entirely separate group of people. An entirely separate group of people. So like, what are we even talking about? Like, it's crazy.
All anti-Semitic.
Like, even if what you were saying was true, it does not justify like the Nakba, an ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. And this is the problem, is like Ethan didn't connect that is what Zionism is. Ethan is still operating under the assumption that, oh no, Zionism is just, you know, I want Jews to be safe somewhere. And so when he says the Arabs made the Jews Zionist, right? He's like, oh, they're just going to the place that's safe for Jews in the Middle East, and that's Israel, right? Not that like when he says that the Arabs made the Jews Zionist, that he was justifying the eradication of the Palestinian people, because Zionism justifies the eradication of the Palestinian people. It's crazy.
That doesn't like me is anti-Semitic. Ethan, through his lawyer, ascribes all of that to me because that's who he is. But, you know, not everyone is like that. Some people just don't like it when you use genocidal talking points because they don't like genocide. And for them, that's a good enough reason on its own to make a YouTube video. What I also like about this one is that, you know, to argue that I'm self-interested, they cite a video.
So I don't think those forced migrations started till later, like 1920s, but Zionism and Jewish settlements in Palestine started back in the 1890s. Yeah, this is what people have talked about as well, and that like the Nakba had started before, like forced migration of Jewish people in the Middle East. Not even like specifically like to Israel, but again, it was a push and pull effect, right? There were elements in some Arab nations that like forced like Jews out of those nations, and Israel was like, well, you can be safe here, just come here and identify with our settler colonial project, and then you'll be safe, right? You're saying I made them Zionists, even if it were true, can't be the whole story. Yeah, because he still has this worldview about like Zionism as an ideology, that it's not inherently violent, but it is, because it's built upon the ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. You feel me? The most adamant Zionists that I know are Christian too, not Jewish. But you can't bring that up to Ethan, because Ethan, when Sam brought it up to Ethan just didn't engage with it, right? Ethan was like, well, 70%, like upwards of 70%, which is the different than the 90% he said before. He said 70% of Jewish people are Zionists. So when you make a claim that includes 70% of Jewish people, you are anti-Semitic, right? And Lodenbach has echoed this claim as well. Right? Lodenbach echoed this claim as well. But this is exactly what I said with my analogy about with hair. Like, oh, well, you know, 70 to 80% of black people have hair. And so if you criticize people who have hair, you're criticizing 70 to 80% of black people. Therefore, you're anti-black for criticizing people with hair. Like, that's just not how that works. It's not. Right? Because having hair is not an integral feature of blackness. In the same way that Zionism is not an integral feature of Jewish people. Right? And that shows that because there are more Christian Zionists than there are Jewish people in diaspora in the world. So it cannot be inherently anti-Semitic, not saying that they're not people who use Zionism as a way to be anti-Semitic, right? But it's not inherently anti-Semitic to criticize Zionism because, according to Ethan, a lot of Jews adhere to that ideology because there are more Christians that adhere to that ideology in totality than Jewish people in diaspora, right? And Zionism is not an inherent feature of Judaism. And if you think it is, you are the anti-Semitic person here. This side kind of related note is that Zionists are coming after Miss Rachel. Yeah, like I saw that.
Video I made knowing full well that it would get shadow banned and demonetized, which it did. If I just
also, am I kind of washed? I only have 300 viewers. I'm kind of washed, chat.
Views and money, I would not have made that video. To be frank, the reason I made that video was on a pretty simple basic principle, which is being against genocide. And that principle manifests itself in me wanting more people to know about how the media is normalizing this genocide. That same principle is why I made the videos about these guys. It just so happens that when YouTubers are in the...
I think we're in a state where like people are kind of over drama slap just in general. Is that on TikTok too? No. Quality over quantity though. I'm sorry, quality doesn't get me paid in like the number of viewerships that I have.
In the thumbnail,
unless y'all give me money, in which case that'd be a different story.
More people click on the video. Ethan is aware of this phenomenon. Obviously, he's used it for me and many others. It is unfortunate that more people care about what their favorite e-celebs have to say about each other than an active genocide, but that's the frame of reality we're working within on the internet. And I don't know, I think people are doing what they can to try to change that, or at least use it for positive goals, like getting more people to learn about the genocide. And to an extent, for some people, this seemed to work. You know, I got a lot of comments saying they hadn't heard about what's happening in Gaza or about how bad things actually were until that video was recommended to them. And for most...
And I will say that is also a little bit insane. Not to like attack those people, but it is kind of crazy to like 18 months into a genocide to be like, whoa, I had no idea what was going on over there. Like, really? No idea? None. Isn't that really just sad? I'm curious to how I can understand the chatter who was like, or the commenter who was like, I didn't know it was that bad. That's entirely fair. If you're watching like American media, I can totally understand you knowing that something's going on, but not knowing how bad it is until you're being expressly told, right? Expressly told that, you know, this is what's happening. You feel me? But like to be like, I had no clue about any of this until I watched this drama slap video. But again, maybe they're children.
Most people, the only reason it was recommended to them is because I framed it around what some guys on the internet think about it. That was what I'd hoped would happen. Believe me or don't, it doesn't matter. What matters is that factually, some people learned about the genocide, and they wouldn't have learned about it if I hadn't used these creators as examples. And the same is true for creators like Bad Empanada or Overzealots or Chris Kunzler and more, and anyone else that wants to join in and use the algorithm for good. And they certainly wouldn't have learned about the genocide from any of these creators themselves, because despite their claims to caring about it,
I've been a stalwart supporter of the Palestinian cause for many years.
Now I will say, on like the low viewership, next week it's gonna be back. Let's be entirely real. When Ethan Klein drops his Nuke Part 2 that he's taking his week off to complete, people are gonna start tuning in again. Like, come on. It'll be there. It'll be easy.
None of them ever talk about it at all, aside from when they're, you know, basically...
Part 2. He took time off. That I've heard chatter saying that he's doing Nuke Part 2 to work on a video on Hasan, whatever that video is going to be about. So, what would he accomplish with Part 2? He's said that, I think he said he's going to be more personal. I think he's going to be the same goal that he wanted to do with the Nuke Part 1, right? And that is, he wants to make Hasan repulsive to mainstream media. The problem is just Ethan doesn't have the motion, right? Ethan, Diddy Saltman, Epstein, Nicholas DeOrio, and all of those people, they are repulsive to their own cause. Sorry, not cause, not claws. Like, you have Taylor Lorenz tweeting about Diddy Saltman being like, yeah, this person is just wrong. Like, if they weren't so fanatically obsessed with like, if they weren't so fanatically obsessed with like just getting personal with Hasan or whatever. I probably should not scroll. Here. He's gonna repeat the brothel style talking points and may bring up his snakes. I don't know what that is. Just to be clear, the government literally confirmed that Hasan was detained publicly and to multiple media outlets. None of this is in dispute except by anyone except the most brain-rotted weirdos. Yeah. Hasan has completely fabricated his entire experience with the Customs and Border Patrol. Not a single part of it is likely true. Big concern that the mainstream press does zero fact-checking on any of this whatsoever. It's sad. Like, you have Taylor Lorenz tweeting about Diddy Saltman. And like this stuff, I think could actually work. Not this specifically, but some of the stuff that they do, I think could actually make Hasan like a little bit apprehensive to be touched by mainstream media. But once they start doing stuff like this, people are like, oh, these people are unserious. Right? Like if they just stuck to like, oh, Hasan is doing inadvertent anti-Semitism. He said that like if you did any Zionist tendencies that you shouldn't be the local dog catcher or whatever. I think if they focused on that, they would have a better chance to like actually be like, man, Hasan is like not great. Then they turn around and be like, Hasan's lying about Customs and Border Patrol. And they're like, well, wait, that's not true, right? Because we're journalists and we talked to Customs and Border Patrol directly, and they said that this happened. So how are you saying that Hasan fabricated this entire story? Maybe you're stupid and have no evidence. We're not gonna listen to you, actually. That's it. Like Ethan Klein has an opportunity to actually take down Hasan if he wasn't so fanatical about it. If he wasn't so insane about it. These people are their own worst enemies. Right? We have Diddy Saltman. Some of you may have the clip somewhere being like, yeah, my goal is just to lie about Hasan as much as possible. Like, yeah, people are not going to take you seriously. If you come on a live stream and you say, yeah, I lie about Hasan. I always lie about Hasan. My goal is to keep lying about Hasan. Then nobody's going to take you seriously. They are their own worst enemies.
You have to get global entry.
Oh.
You have to get global entry.
And then you get to go through the global entry line. Oh, wait. No, wait. You're right. Wait, refresh. Refresh. Wait a second. Refresh.
Yeah. I'm trying to help you. Okay? You're such an asshole.
I'm not being an asshole. I'm just trust but verify. Okay, go.
It's you. I'm trying to help, motherfucker. You shouldn't be verifying.
Go.
Allow the fake news to go.
8-hour to 9-hour flight, and I didn't even eat. I slept the entire.
Is this all they do? Is this their content? It's just, hey, I'm gonna open up the newest Hasan video. I'm gonna open up the newest Hasan video, and we're just gonna react to it. I've seen the weird graphics / timeline they posted. No. No, I don't even know what that is. Like, does anybody have a clip of Diddy Saltman being like Destiny catching Diddy Saltman in like the email lie as well?
You have to get global entry.
And then you get to go through the global entry line. Oh, wait. No, wait. You're right. Wait, refresh. Refresh. Wait a second. Refresh.
Yeah. I'm trying to help you. Okay? You're such an asshole.
I'm not.
Don't send me awk links, bro. I'm so glad I had this person banned since last year when they were tweeting about me or whatever. Like, they were banned since last year or blocked since last year. Which honestly, I'm glad. Does he think Hasan was realistically detained for 30 minutes tops rather than multiple hours after a bit of detective work? Like,
present this question.
Yeah, these people are not obsessed, right? These people are very normal people. This makes you look normal. This makes you look normal. Yeah, for sure. This makes you look normal.
Coherently from start to finish. Somebody said, was the questioning 2 hours or everything, including standing in line at security? So Hasan's flight landed, and then the doors opened at 4:22 Eastern time. At 4:22, the doors to his plane opened. From
like, do you not realize how this makes you look? Do you not take a step back and realize, maybe this makes us look insane. And this will cause people to not take us seriously. I don't know. Maybe.
there, he has to leave the plane. He has to walk through to get to immigration. He had to check at the global entry thing and then get pulled aside for additional questioning. So he got pulled aside for additional questioning, did the questioning, and then he was out. And then he tweeted at 5:30, "It's okay, I'm out." So from the doors of his plane opening to him tweeting, "It's okay, I'm out," was an hour and 8 minutes. So realistically, he was probably pulled aside and questioned, like from waiting in the room to talking to the guy and everything, was probably 30 minutes.
Like, do you not realize that this is insane? Do you not does nobody sit back and think, this is kind of strange. This is weird. Once you start looking up the flights of a creator you hate, first of all, just please breathe a breath of the outside air. Just, it might kill you. And honestly, but do it. It will be better for you and for society. Just touch the grass. Just go outside and touch the grass. It would be a net positive for us all. And then maybe take a step back and be like, I probably shouldn't be so engaged with these people. Maybe it's not good for my mental health. Like, go play video games. You know what I mean? Talk to your parents if they still want to talk to you. Right? It's possible to interact with your parents outside of them bringing you chicken nuggies every few hours. Right? You can go and say hello to them. It's possible. You can do that. You can step outside. Let the sun hit your face. It would hurt for a little bit. It's okay. It's all right. But like, this isn't healthy. Watching this content is not healthy. At least watch content that's relatively productive. Right? Go watch Minecraft videos. You know, I'll give you some recommendations, okay? Let's see what I've been watching. Critical Role. I've been watching Critical Role, Campaign 2. Right? Go watch Critical Role. That's something that will occupy your time. Shawnee C has a new video on Aiden Ross. I've been watching that as well.
I don't hate a lot of content creators. In fact,
like, there are just things that you can do instead. What else have I been watching? Balatro videos. Balatro. I don't know how you pronounce it. There's just things you can watch. Northern Lion videos. You don't have to engage with this content. You just don't. It's not good for you. It's not good for you. It's not. Balatro? That sounds dumb. Hey, does anybody have the clip of Diddy Solomon being caught in the lie about the email that he sent to like a reporter or whatever? I know one of you have it. I know one of you freaking drama perverts have it. Can't even make anti-8. Oh, joke's on you. I already have. I did it with the blue deck and the red deck. So suck my nuts. Also, I've been playing Blueprints. And honestly, that game is a little bit confusing with no help. It's very confusing. Watching it confuses me. The game sent me into a spiral. You can get letters in the game that give you hints. Don't say any more, chat. I will ban you. I love writing stuff down in Blueprints. I will pick up a letter and it'll be like, oh, this is the safe code or whatever. And then I would forget about it until like 6 runs down the line. Maybe not 6 runs, that's an exaggeration. Like 2 runs down the line. And I get to the safe and I was like, well, I don't remember the code. Sucks to suck. And I'm like, I remember it next time. And I never remember it. Gotta write stuff down. Nah, that's lame. I'll just remember it next time. I have a Blueprints notebook that makes me look like a serial killer. Everyone should watch Another Lion play Blueprints. He's one of the only people who plays it correctly. Chill, going with the flow, no rushing. No, I disagree. Nobody should watch anybody play Blueprints. Everybody should just play it. The game is not for you. You shut your mouth, chatter. Just because you're stupid doesn't mean I'm stupid. Because you can't handle it doesn't mean that I can't handle it. Because you need a notebook to take notes because you can't remember it doesn't mean that I need to. Sorry. I'm just better than you. I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm stronger than you. I'm greater than you and better than you in every way. Can't even imagine my mind and my capacity. Can remember the save code? Either? What do you mean? I remembered it. I just went back to find it to verify, obviously. To confirm, obviously. You admitted it? No. You just misheard me. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. But no, nobody, and there's a reason why I haven't been playing it on stream. I feel like I would be doing chat a disservice by playing it on stream. Right? If you haven't seen it played, I think you should play it with no prior information. Have you seen the new RDC Minecraft streams series? No. No, I have not. I own it, just never played it. The Minecraft ones are so good. I don't watch other people's content like that. That's a lie. I did re-download Tekken. I saw Ludwig and everybody doing the tournament thing play Tekken or play Street Fighter, and I was like, I miss fighting games. And so I re-downloaded Tekken. I haven't played it again yet, but I do have it downloaded. And I may start playing Tekken soon. Who knows? Who knows? You play Subliminal yet? No. I was like, Cash Breakfast, did you change your color? Wasn't your color purple before? Don't gaslight me. Don't gaslight me. You weren't always green. I don't believe it. The color is different. This is a new color. I've always been green. Gaslighting. Gaslighting. I'm checking. Oh, okay. Maybe you have always been green. It worked. Stop.
Being an asshole, I'm just trust.
Also, there's a link. No, this is not the clip I was looking for. It's fine. It's not important. Hey, let's continue.
Smearing its opponents and running cover for the country that's committing it.
They literally put fucking command centers under hospitals.
Outside of that, silence. As an aside, I think it's still open to debate as to whether or not this tactic is worth it. Like, is it worth the trade-off to get this information in front of more people when the conversation can so quickly turn from the issues and into creator drama? In this latest chapter, I don't think it was. Granted, I didn't really expect that these people would be petty enough or dumb enough to actually sue me.
And to be entirely fair, right? Especially for like the 15 or so, the 12 to 15 months after the this phase of the genocide began, like any attention was like positive attention, kind of. Now at this point, we have to get into conversations about like the efficacy of like using drama to springboard talking about Palestine. But like in like, you know, freaking January of 2024, just getting people to care about it, right? I think was just a positive thing. And now we have to be very careful that people understand and at least know about what's going on to make sure that like their focus is not lost on just inter-creator drama. Ugh. Right?
Sean the Black says she's my African princess.
Bedub just subscribed.
Speed up, thank you for the prime. Much appreciated.
Me or threatened to, but I probably should have. So that's on me. That debate, though, is open only to people that actually care about and talk about the genocide, not you.
True. True.
You or any of your freak show fan bases. As far as that first group of people goes, the people whose input I care about, they have been mostly supportive of these efforts. Do whatever you can to get the word out to as many people as possible. That's the feedback I've been getting, so that's what I've been trying to do. But again, that might not always be the case, and that is subject to change. Aside from the cease and desist being, a joke, the other main reason I'm down to clown in court is because Ethan keeps proving my point over and over again. Like every day that passes and every time he opens his mouth on his show, he continually proves that my allegedly defamatory claim that he is backing a genocide is actually very correct. In the very stream he was supposed to be disproving the assertion that he supports genocide, he brought out the most explicit IDF talking points he'd used to date.
I feel like this is a force that's going to help end the war, not fucking keeping hostages and underground and like sending, just continuing to provoke Israel to attack them and putting fucking like military complexes under hospitals. They literally put fucking command centers under hospitals.
The talking point he's using there, that Hamas builds command and control centers under hospitals, has been Israel's primary justification for the systematic destruction of Gaza's healthcare infrastructure for over 19 months now. That talking point is a justification for one of the key elements of Israel's approach to genocide. It's genocidal propaganda. There's no other way to put it. He is sharing genocidal propaganda to millions of people. A few episodes later, Ethan and his wife Hila downplayed Israel's mass targeted assassinations of journalists by claiming that the IDF doesn't do that.
It's not like Israel
that is worried
Look,
about.
it's not like Israel's going to do a precision strike on Hasan. They don't fucking.
Yeah,
but it is dangerous. It's a war zone. Like I agree, it's dangerous.
They might. It's a war zone. I don't think you guys understand Israel. It doesn't work like that.
They're not.
It doesn't work like that there. Thanks, Hila. Ugh, what a disgusting piece of bad person.
Yes, they do. They do that more than anyone ever, actually. It's the last possible group of people on Earth that you could claim doesn't intentionally target journalists. This is just pure misinformation that is used to run cover for Israel as it commits a genocide, a major factor of which is limiting people's exposure to the atrocities they are committing. And the most direct way they can do that is by assassinating journalists over and over and over and over again. A couple weeks ago, in a debate with Sam Cedar, Ethan continued to expose himself as a propagandist.
Wait, was that
for
a couple
Israel's
weeks ago? Jeez, where's time gone?
Genocide. He repeatedly blamed Palestinian resistance for Israel's genocidal actions in Gaza.
They could have done that. They could have ended it after a week.
I mean, Hamas could have ended the war anytime too.
How could have Hamas ended the war?
By releasing the hostages?
No, listen. Israel has said
Feels like it was a month ago. Yeah.
Time and time again that the release of the hostages is not going to end their assault on Gaza. They have said this over
I don't believe that's
over and over.
I haven't seen those statements.
I haven't seen those statements. It's kind of crazy how after this debate, Ethan didn't come back. Like, yep, I looked at these statements and Sam was correct. Right? Whenever he got into a losing argument, he's just like, oh, well, I didn't see that, so it must not exist. Anyway, let's move on to something else.
I've seen the opposite.
At any time, they could have done that.
Well, what has Hamas done to end the war?
Hamas offered
what have
the
they done to end the war?
Early dawn to say Hamas offered all the hostages in agreement for in response to Israel not coming into Gaza. I mean, there's just to defend Israel's actions.
That didn't happen.
And just being like, that's not true. That didn't happen.
It's being inevitable.
What I'm getting to is
he's such a bad person. This guy is not a good person. That's what I'm going to say.
Hamas, I think they knew that this was the reaction that would happen.
By this logic, there is nothing Israel could do that can't be blamed on Hamas, which is a genocidal logic because they're committing genocide.
Like, listen, Hamas knew that Israel was completely genocidal, which I will be defending in a second here. And so it's Hamas's fault for even trying to fight back against like the Israel's slow genocide, because they knew Israel would do a fast genocide in response. They should have just laid down and took it. They should have just laid down and took the slow genocide.
And doing exactly what he is doing here, blaming Hamas. This is the logic employed by the IDF and the Israeli state and its propagandists, and this sort of thing is what makes Ethan one of them. In this debate, Ethan also repeatedly conflates anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism, which Sam Cedar deconstructs pretty effectively, in my opinion.
This will never happen, but in a totally just world, regardless of your background, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi. And you shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher as Felix was posting if they've ever exhibited any sort of positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious about this.
Now, to me, that seems like extremely dangerous, dehumanizing language about what could arguably be 70% of the Jewish diaspora, and certainly probably people you know in your family.
I hate people with hair. Whoa, you hate black people? It's kind of crazy to talk about you hating what could be considered as 80% of black people who have hair. You're anti-black now? For saying you hate people with hair? That's crazy. That's wild. Like, it makes no sense. Zionist is not a label that is inherently attributed to Jewish people. There are more Christian Zionists than there are Jewish people in diaspora. You can't sit here and claim that he's talking specifically about like Jewish Zionists when he didn't say Jewish Zionists, and then disregard the Christian Zionists that he also is referring to. More of them. Come on, bro.
Go in and you're making this about anti-Semitism by doing this hopscotch about a poll that people had positive feelings that Jewish people do, and then therefore he is anti-Semitic. And honestly, that type of conflation, I think, is so dangerous and so disingenuous. I have had a guy who went to my bar mitzvah, my sister's bar mitzvah, my kid's bar mitzvah, sat at Passover with me 3 or 4 times, call my father and ask him if I'm anti-Semitic. That is just an example, an illustration of conflating when he's clearly talking about Zionism. Was it hyperbole to say any time in life, whatever? The fact of the matter is this conflation is dangerous for Jews. It is a fig leaf and a way of weaponizing anti-Semitism that has enabled Donald Trump to do the shit he's doing, that has enabled the slaughter of thousands upon thousands of children and women and men, for that matter. It is not keeping Israelis safe. And this type of conflation, Ethan, is what I find far more irresponsible, frankly, than the idea that he said positive any time.
Not only is this another textbook defense used by the genocidal state of Israel, but what he's saying here is also anti-Semitic. He's using this poll to speak for all Jews.
Now, to me, that seems like extremely dangerous, dehumanizing language about what could arguably be 70% of the Jewish diaspora.
Lots of Jewish people think this thing, therefore criticizing that thing is anti-Semitic. Hey man, no, it's not. The criticism is not about their Jewishness, it's about Israel. The only one here making it about their Jewishness is you. In this same conversation, Ethan blamed Palestinians for Israel's mass killing of peaceful Palestinian protesters with sniper fire during the Great March of Return in 2018.
They were marching in the Great March of Return week after week after week.
Sam, was there Hamas activity at the Great March?
Sinwar was
like, that's crazy, which is not talked about because he's made so many different claims in this debate with Sam and debate with Hasan. Like, to justify the slaughter of unarmed civilians to the extent that like the international community doesn't even try. Like Israel to a certain extent doesn't even try to like justify its actions, right? In that way. He's like, well, there was Hamas activity there. So like they have to shoot, and maim and kill unarmed civilians. They must shoot and maim and kill unarmed civilians. They have to. They were trying to cross the fence in the Great March of Return.
Sinwar was marching with them.
Were people attacking the border wall?
During the Great March of Return, the first dozens of these things before the snipers? No, they weren't. So there were the people for peace.
There was Hamas activity. They were attacking the fence. They were like trying to cross the border.
They were
but not militants. Militants were trying to cross the border.
We know where he got this talking point from. His friend Destiny, and we've seen him use that before a bunch of times.
Overwhelmingly peaceful. Just as a quick thing, because people love to talk about the Great March of Return, the peaceful March of Return. All of this is like the peaceful Great March of Return. Remember this, okay? This is all the peaceful Great March of Return.
And we've gone over this before, but the human rights reports were very clear on what happened in 2018. Thousands of people were shot by IDF snipers, hundreds of them killed, while standing hundreds of meters from the fence. It's actually pretty insane that this talking point is still being used. Like, it's disgusting. Men, women, children, medics, aid workers, and disabled people were shot and killed. If your retort to this fact is, well, there was...
It's also still a war crime if people were attacking the fence to shoot unarmed civilians who were also at the fence. Still a war crime. Right? A child can't throw a rock and that justifies you killing thousands of people. Or hundreds of people and maiming thousands of people. That's just not how that works. And this is like the issue with Israel and its situation of proportionality. They do not understand proportionality. The same way that like October 7th does not justify them killing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, right? Of children, maiming, slaughtering, and ethnically cleansing Palestinians. The same way that like, even if there were like a few incidents of people throwing rocks at a fence does not justify thousands of sniper rounds being fired, hitting hundreds and killing hundreds and hitting thousands of Palestinian civilians. That's still a war crime.
separate instances of violence at the border.
They were attacking the fence. They were like trying to cross the border.
Whether you want to admit it or not, you are doing genocide propaganda. You are offering a moral justification for this violence. There are plenty more instances of this sort of thing in Ethan's debate with Hasan, which I could go over, but I feel like you get the point by now. If Ethan is really going to go through with his I don't support genocide lawsuit, he should probably stop using talking points that support genocide. These guys know that what they're doing here is wrong. In his announcement tweet a couple months back, Mutahar said, "I never want to financially harm or bring a lawsuit to a creator, but slander like this is far too extreme and unchecked. So at this time, we're exploring legal actions, blah, 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 blah. I never want to do this thing that I know is wrong and predatory, but I'm going to do it anyway because I have no principles and you hurt my feelings." Defamation is not saying extreme things. That's not what defamation is, and it shouldn't take thousands of dollars and months, potentially years of our time to get these guys to understand that. It might, though, because they're rich, which is amazing. It's a beautiful system that we have, but I hope it doesn't. And then recall what Ethan said 8 years ago when he spoke about his experience of being sued.
Ela wearing a hate hat is so funny. Like, I'm sorry. That is pretty funny. She's wearing a hat that says hate on it.
By a more wealthy YouTuber.
It's unbelievable. It's criminal. The American justice system is just, it's how can you defend yourself? Like, you guys gave us $150,000 to fight this lawsuit. It's not enough. It's not even enough. And I'm just wondering, if we didn't have the backing and support of all you guys, and the means to even throw $50,000 of our own money to defend this case, how would we ever stand up to this? It's like those with money in the legal system have the ability to destroy and bully and just defeat people on the grounds of I have more money. And you never would have a chance of defending yourself. It's obscene.
It's not a threat. I'm going to sue you.
Ethan now constantly threatens lawsuits over creators he doesn't like and creators that say things that are mean about him.
When I'm done with Noah, when I'm done with the other one, the big one that's dropping probably next week,
did that one ever drop? Last I heard, he was suing Noah, and that was it. He said the big one that's dropping next week, but like he didn't drop another one. He just kind of stopped talking about it.
Full attention is going to you, George, like the eye of Sauron. I see you. I see you out there, you fucking cockroach. You're full of shit, bro. You're not going to do shit. And I'll tell you who's going to do shit. Me. I'm coming, okay? So you're not safe either. Just wait. Keep talking that shit.
He has become the villain, and if he goes through with this, and
I also don't think he sued Bana Banata either. Like, I think Bana Banata wants to be sued. I think he wants you to try to throw litigation his way. Like, which is why there's no W for Ethan here. Like, that's what Bana Banata wants. He's goading you into doing so. Like, Bana Banata be sued. He lives in Argentina. I don't freaking know. This is why I'm confused about what Ethan's trying to do. Maybe Ethan can try to sue YouTube for hosting Bana Banata's content. But again, Section 250, you feel me? Like, it's still not going to work. His lawyers told him that they can't do anything about it. So I don't know. I genuinely have no clue.
Somehow manages to succeed. You know, he retains Alan Dershowitz. We get Richard Goldstone on the bench in a Zionist kangaroo court. That would set a pretty bad precedent, I think. If you disagree with someone's opinions about you, you should respond to it yourself, like an adult in the court of public opinion, not pay a lawyer thousands of dollars to respond for you in a pre-written email, video essay. It's pretty clear that he's done most of this stuff to make money and for content, which is kind of funny because defamation is supposed to be the other way around. Like, he's made tens, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars off of my alleged defamation. I don't know how that factors into proving damages, making a bunch of money, more money than you would have made without it. I don't know, but I guess we'll find out, maybe. I would close with some point about right-wing free speech hypocrisy, because a lot of these people supported this lawsuit despite claiming to want free speech.
I do think people that make up bullshit like this probably do need to have a degree of accountability, especially if they're saying and making claims like that you're a supporter of a genocide. I think this is a very extreme claim.
But like, Asmongold is a supporter of a genocide. He said, and I quote, "I'm not going to cry a river when people who have genocide baked into the laws are being genocided." Like, end quote. So, yeah.
To make. It's not like you just say this out of the blue, right? And because of that, I do think that there should be some degree of accountability for it.
But it's not even worth it. This is the most predictable thing that has ever happened on Earth. The Zionist and right-wing lip service about free speech is not an actual principle. Of course it's not. It's a tool. Sometimes that tool is a shield to defend their right to be racist loudly online.
I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have genocide that's baked into their laws are getting genocided. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people.
And sometimes it's a sword to attack.
I mean, I kind of pre-watched there a little bit. Like, I kind of got that quote spot on. Did I not? Did I not? I kind of got that quote spot on.
People who criticize them for doing that.
It's not a threat. I'm going to sue you.
None of these people actually care about any of these issues. Their support for a cause is entirely dictated by whether or not they like the people that are supporting that cause, whether or not they have some sort of content creator based relationship. But that also means we, myself included, need to stop treating it as if it's anything other than that, with the exception being using these morons to educate people. I think that's good. I think people should keep doing that. All right, so anyways, that's all I have to say about the lawsuit stuff. Ethan and Mutahar, if you are not suing me, that's great. I would prefer that, so I don't have to fundraise for legal fees during a genocide. If you are actually going to sue me, though, please just let me know. I'll fundraise again. You will probably lose the anti-slap motion and have to pay my legal fees, and will just be wasting a bunch of time and money, which in the grand scheme of things is not that big of a deal. I'll be fine, but that will be annoying. So let me know, please. Viewers, if you can, donate to the Gaza Aid fundraiser. I think we can raise a lot of money. I'll be going live starting Saturday, May 17th at 2 p.m.
tomorrow.
Pacific time, and streaming for a few days and do some guests and other stuff. So stay tuned for the specific.
Maybe Noah will make Hasan play some games. That'll be fun.
About the times. And sorry for the slop. Sorry, this is a little messy. I'm getting back in the swing of things. It's been a while since I've even sat down to write anything. So coming soon will be more stuff that's actually good. So yeah, goodbye.
True. I love that it took us 2 hours to get through this video, but honestly, W. Hasan's gonna be on it from what I heard. What do you mean what I heard? Hasan said it himself literally yesterday. Where is he streaming? Probably YouTube. Probably YouTube. But yeah, I probably won't be live for it. I think I'll be somewhere else. What I saw in Mad Sus, because I just don't know if I'm gonna be live or not. Don't dox yourself. It wouldn't be a dox. I would just be somewhere else. I do want to see. Yo, we'll go with this first. Not this. Not this. Not this. Not this. Trigger warning. Sorry. Trigger warning. First and foremost, you know you can subscribe for free with Twitch Prime chat. Just go ahead and check for me. Go ahead and check for me if you have a Twitch Prime. And if you do have it, go ahead and just use it. Bada bing, bada boom. On me, I would appreciate that. Thank you. It's free. It's free. You know. I condemn this genocide and complicity in this genocide. NYU student Logan Rozos denounces Israel's genocide in Gaza during a graduation speech to roaring applause. In retaliation, NYU has withheld its diploma and is threatening further disciplinary action.
I've been freaking out a lot about this speech, honestly. And as I search my heart.
Is he the valedictorian? This is the valedictorian speech? Because at graduations, there's a few different speeches.
Today, in addressing you all.
A big appointment there for the 20-month subscription with Prime. W. Yes, it's valedictorian. And this is why it's great, because like they're not gonna not do a valedictorian speech. And when valedictorians actually do things like this and stand up for their principles, they can't stop it. Right? I mean, they'll try, but like, I think this is a good use of actually being given a platform. Also, he didn't even name Israel. Can mute the mic, right? I mean, they can mute the mic if they know what's coming, but like, if you're like, man, genocide is bad, you at least get a few words out before they mute the mic, you know? You're like, I oppose genocide, and they mute the mic. You at least get a few words out.
And as I search my heart today,
also, I can just imagine how terrifying this looks, or this feels, right? Because like, this student knows what's going to happen. This student knows that there's going to be retaliation from NYU, right? They know it. We know it. But to still then take a stand, right, at your own personal like peril is commendable.
You all, my moral and political commitments guide me to say that the only thing that is appropriate to say in this time and to a group this large is a recognition of the atrocities currently happening in Palestine.
Like, and it hits my heart just to see how scared he is to speak about this, right? Like, it hurts that this is something that to be scared about, and rightfully so. They are retaliating against him now, right? He was right to be scared. They are retaliating against him. And like, we've arrived at this point where like most of the country knows this is an atrocity. Most of the country knows. Every take a deep breath, hit hard, yeah. Like this, to most people, this is not a controversial statement. Right? But for some reason, the institutions are lagging behind. It's still an effort to get them to divest. These same universities to divest from Israel. Right? This is overwhelmingly popular sentiment for people. He didn't name Israel. He didn't call Israel out. My parents are pretty basic libs. Even my mom told me the other day that she thinks that Israel is a big asshole for what's going on in Gaza. Like, my dad, like, my parents are also super lib. My dad, before the election, like August, right? maybe before that, it was like probably like February. It was like, listen, I want to support Israel, but like, why are they killing so many people? They're doing too much. And that turned into in August, like, honestly, like, I hate the fact that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are co-signing what's happening in Gaza. Like, they're losing the libs. They're losing the libs. Last year, they're losing the libs. Like, what do you do? Like, come on, dog. It's important to note that Zionists will attack you and try to break you down no matter how you support Palestine. So you might as well stand up as much as you can, as this student has here. My dad is literally has 100% Hasbro type defender of Israel since 2023, and now he's heard the Houthis struck Ben Gurion airport, and he said good. And Tectone's dad is a rapist. Hey, not according to me. According to Tectone. Not according to me. According to Tectone. Tectone himself has made this claim. I didn't make the claim. Oh, you read the title? No, it's fine. It's there.
I want to say that the genocide currently occurring is supported politically and militarily by the United States, is paid for by our tax dollars, and has been live streamed to our phones for the past 18 months. And that I do not wish to speak only to my own politics today, but to speak for all people of conscience, and all people who feel the moral injury of this atrocity. And I want to say that I condemn this genocide and complicity in this genocide. Thank you to the class of 2025, and congratulations.
Can you imagine if a single candidate said this? No, actually. I cannot imagine a world where that happens. It chose the right person. To be fair, he chose himself if he's the valedictorian. To be entirely fair, he chose himself if he's the valedictorian. It's the person with the highest grade point average in the university. So yeah, I hate unis can deny you from getting a degree that you worked for. It should be illegal outside of a case of academic misconduct. Yeah. I don't think he was the only speaker. I could be wrong though. I don't know. Chat told me he was a valedictorian. I don't know if he was a valedictorian or not. But he was a speaker. So but they are removing him from the website. NYU deleted a page highlighting Logan Rozos from the website last night at approximately 8:30 p.m. The page for the other 8 highlighted students, including 2025 graduates, are still alive. I mean, it's not surprising. It's not surprising. It's one of the most basic politics statement, and that Emily have melt down over it. Yeah, because you dare acknowledge the humanity of Palestinians. Like I saw a tweet. Does anybody have the tweet that I saw? It was like, it's on Blue Sky, and somebody was like, "I'm Jewish, and there's no world, right? There's no world where saying you want no children to die is anti-Semitic." And then somebody replied saying, what did they say? You know what I'm talking about? I don't know where it is. I gotta start saving more tweets that I see that are insane so I can talk about them. Yeah, I don't know. Is this it? Okay, this is not specifically it, but it's the same sentiment I saw. Also, it's Chris Kunzler.
This just
Yeah, same vibes.
in breaking from the newsroom, Liv pisses off people on the internet. Just because you see images as disgusting and frustrating and upsetting as it is, does not automatically make a war unjust.
I'm gonna say it. Just because you are getting the bag in and you are receiving crumbs of attention on the internet for spreading your abhorrent propaganda does not make it acceptable. Because in this video, this person basically admits that they work for the Israeli government.
I love that every single one of these creators has this grand conspiracy theory that I'm either
I mean, she has a Palestine necklace on though, so that's not terrible.
secretly undercover a Jew, or I work for the Israeli government. I'm not, and I don't. But LOL, if you're watching this, please.
Israel advocacy space, but you only have 30,000 followers. You're not generating your own income. You are being paid.
Ooh, that's rough. 30,000. That's it? That's all you can do? That's all. I mean, she's on TikTok, so it's not surprising that she can only pull 30,000 people to care about her pro-Israel propaganda. Like, but that's all you can muster?
By the Israeli government.
It's so weird to bring up the following thing because, yeah, I only have 30K on TikTok. It's almost like that's because it's never been about the followers for me. You're the one making off of these videos. I have not made a...
Wait. Okay, I'm confused. Is she responding to Chris or is Chris responding to her? Okay, okay. I got confused there. I think she's responding to Chris. Responding to her.
As it is, does not automatically make a war unjust.
I'm gonna say it. Just because you are getting the bag in and you are receiving crumbs of attention on the internet for spreading your abhorrent propaganda does not make it acceptable. Because in this video, this person basically admits that they work for the Israeli government.
I love that every single one of these creators has this grand conspiracy theory that I'm either secretly undercover a Jew or I work for the Israeli government. I'm not, and I don't. But LOL, if you're watching this, please.
Israel advocacy space, but you only have 30,000 followers. You're not generating your own income. You are being paid by the Israeli government.
It's so weird to bring up the following thing because, yeah, I only have 30K on TikTok. It's almost like that's because it's never been about the followers for me. You're the one making off of these videos. I have not made a single dime from any video I have ever posted on social media. And no, I don't work for the Israeli government. But again, LL, if you're listening, help a girl out.
It is in no way normal or acceptable to go on the internet every day and make rubbish like this. So,
firstly, the same could be said about you, but I digress. Don't you just love making like a 4-minute video and then people clipping 4 seconds of what you say, blasting it all over the internet, and then they like make these videos and expect me to be like, oh no, I'm sorry, I take it back. No, I will actually...
I mean, she's she's begging to get paid by the Israeli government. So I don't think it's incorrect to classify you as somebody who is an Israeli propagandist. Like, also, she does claim that like people are saying that she's secretly Jewish. I don't think she's like, that's a funny like claim to make if you're like that person. Be like, oh, the person's secretly Jewish. Like, there are more Christian Zionists than there are Jewish people in diaspora. So it's infinitely more likely that she's just a Christian Zionist than like secretly Jewish for some reason. But I think that is if that's what people are actually saying, then that's pretty interesting.
Say it again. Just because you see graphic images of children does not make a war unjust. Notice how I didn't say that the killing of children is something to be glorified or praiseworthy. Notice how I never said that it's not a tragedy. Notice how I never said that you shouldn't weep for the loss of innocent children's lives. For people who claim to love context, you sure do have one heck of a way of leaving it out of everything. So I'll say it another way, the same way I've said it a million times before. Emotions are a weapon of war. We see a graphic image, a video of a child crying, footage of a destroyed building or streets or wounded civilians, and our immediate reaction is heartbreak, as it should be, because that is the appropriate human reaction to war. But somewhere along the way, a lot of people started confusing emotional pain with moral judgment. They started believing that if a war produces suffering, if there
Does this not also apply to Israel on October 7th? Like, what she's describing here, does that not also apply to October 7th? Were there not horrific images that came out of October 7th? Was there not usage of children, of young people, of women on and after October 7th to then justify Israel's continued campaign in Gaza? So like, if you believe this and if you have this take, why does it only apply to the Palestinians? And why does it apply disproportionately to like the pro-Palestinian side, right? Like, you're using October 7th to justify the expansion of Israel into Gaza and the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. But like, the violence that happens after October 7th justifies nothing on the Palestinian side. It doesn't contextualize anything on the Palestinian side. You can't weep for the Palestinian children that die, but you have to, you know, but yeah, as Hasan said yesterday, nothing justifies October 7th, but October 7th justifies everything. And it just doesn't make any sense.
there are horrifying images, if there are children caught in the crossfire, or if it seems like one side is suffering more than the other, then that means the war itself must be unjust. And that is not true. That's never.
But it is true. It's disproportional. And disproportional violence, by and large, is usually unjust. Especially when you consider that the violence was disproportional not since October 7th, right? But for the last 78 years, the violence has been disproportional. Israel has been committing disproportional acts of violence against the Palestinian people for the last 77, 78 years, at least. So no, I think that does matter in the context of who's in the right and who's in the wrong. If Israel has been committing disproportional acts of violence for the last 77, 78 years, then yeah, I think that's important context about maybe Israel is not the correct party here. And their choice to commit more disproportional acts of violence is not justified because they were the people who were committing the atrocious acts of violence to begin with.
Been true. The nature of war is that innocent people.
Also, it's not a war, and this is the problem. This is the issue, right? She keeps saying war, like that is an accurate description of what's happening. It's not a war, and it has never been a war. It's always been ethnic cleansing and genocide, right? The classification of what Israel is committing as a war, right, to justify their actions has been inaccurate from the jump. Inaccurate from the jump. It's a genocide. It's ethnic cleansing. That is the stated goal of Zionism, is to ethnically cleanse the Palestinian people.
Suffer. Even in the most necessary wars, in wars fought for survival, civilians get hurt. Such is the case in Israel's current war, where, might I remind you, the civilian to combatant ratio is one of the lowest in urban combat history.
Says that she's getting a
Lowest in urban combat history. Sure. Who told you that? Israel? I mean, yeah, if Israel claims that, like, yeah, a 12-year-old is like an enemy combatant, then maybe they would be correct.
master's degree in genocide studies, but how dare you make videos like this if you really are?
And so yes, I am about to complete my master's in Holocaust and Genocide Studies, correct. And it is so interesting to me to watch people get on here and blatantly ignore Hamas's genocidal rhetoric and watch them invert cause and effect when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Interesting is the point of my
master's in Genocide Studies, Israel and Palestinian conflict.
And watch them invert cause and effect when it comes to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
Yeah, I'm sure that master's degree is really coming in handy.
Interesting is the point of my original video was actually that most of the people talking about this kind of stuff online don't actually have a personal connection to the war. They don't have.
Well, one, it's not a war. Two, you don't need a personal connection to know genocide is bad.
A friend.
Wait, is this a lady who was like, I went to Israel 10 times since October 7th or whatever? Or before October 7th? Is this the same lady that I saw? I think I saw a video like that. She's like, I've been to Israel 10 times.
That they know personally or a family member who is living in the region, they have never had to check a casualty list for a name that they might recognize. And the most productive conversations that I have had about the current war have been with people who actually have lived through it. People in Israel and the West Bank and in Gaza, not random internet personalities who are on here grifting for cash.
Wait,
so,
but she also hasn't lived in, she said she's been to Israel, but like, what is her connection then?
yes, I have been working in this space for over 4 years, which is how I know for a fact that I will
also,
be here.
So is Chris. I think for longer than 4 years. Like, so what are we talking about?
When you are long gone and moved on to a conflict halfway around the world that you also have no involvement in.
She'd be like, yeah, I'm going to be pro-Israeli genocide, right? When she starts talking about other genocides that are being committed. I don't know if this is the own you think. Was she wearing a Palestine necklace? It makes no fucking sense. Oh, no, I was joking. She thinks it's a necklace of Israel. She's not wearing it because she thinks it's a Palestine necklace. I was making a joke. That would be pretty funny though. If everybody was just like, everybody commented on her necklace, be like, hey, nice Palestine necklace. She's like, oh no, actually this is Israel. You're like, no, I think that's Palestine actually. I'm pretty sure that's Palestine. She's like, no, it's Israel. Like, nah, it's Palestine. So yeah. First sentence of this post may be double over. But yeah. Why is Fantano talking about Tim Pool? Anyway, let's finish this off. FNYU. They suck. And yeah.
Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd.
Also, I had Sweet Green for the first time yesterday. It's not bad. Not bad. It's freaking expansive. Gosh freaking darn it. It's not terrible. I expected it to be gross. Oh, also there's a new FD video on
Black
Mark Lamont
Podcast
Hill.
Land is
Honestly, we're gonna go with this one first. What's that? Google it. Expensive but not bad. Yeah.
mostly a parade of atrocities. There's a few good joints, a few, but not that many. Shout out to the Grits and Eggs podcast. I'm trying to make that happen. Black Podcast Land is mostly a parade of atrocities. There's a few good joints, a few, but not that many. Shout out to the Grits and Eggs podcast. I'm trying to make that happen soon. I like higher learning a little bit. Shout out to the Poor Minds. Shout out to Jokes on You. There's good entertainment. Like,
man, I know nothing about the Black podcast circuit. None of those names sound familiar. Grits and Eggs sound good. Maybe that's because I'm hungry. But I'm interested in that one. But I know nothing about the rest of them.
Knowledge sharing and other stuff happening out there in podcast land in some places. The rest of them, it's like a scene from Mad Max, and there's hot garbage everywhere.
I'm aware of them as well. I just don't watch. I don't watch podcasts. That's yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Mark Lamont Hill just made me realize that maybe things can be better. So if you don't know who Mark Lamont Hill is I guess not an OG talking head. He hasn't been around for that long, but he's a talking head that popped up in various newscasts over the last decade or so. He is a PhD professor at, I believe, Johns Hopkins. My bad, Mark, if I got that wrong. I've also interviewed Mark on my main channel. Interview is on the podcast channel. Mark is a staunch leftist, has voted third party consistently, an anti-Zionist. His anti-Zionism stances cost him his spot on MSNBC, so he's put it on the line. And in this new era of his
FD made like 3 mistakes in this video so far. I'll go crazy. You tell me, you know who Van Lathens is? Name sound familiar.
Aside from having a dope YouTube channel, he's also been appearing regularly on the Joe Budden podcast. Joe Budden, I feel like, has to have the biggest black or hip hop oriented podcast.
That's true. Doing a call out Kanye on TMZ. Oh, okay. That's more familiar. To be fair, anybody who calls out Kanye is good in my book.
Out there right now, and it's not as bad as Black Podcast.
I'm gonna be real. Ruby Legend, true. Funny time, I literally just finished watching this video before I came to stream. See, that's the problem. You should watch my stream before you watch these videos. That was a joke. I'm obviously joking.
Podcast land can be. They've had some really bad moments, but there's also much worse podcasts out there, and they've had some decent moments, and especially in the fact that they've changed a lot over the years. And you know, of all the hip-hop related podcasts, they tend to talk music, like actual music, more, which I appreciate. But like many in podcast land, they tend to be a haven of what I've termed PINN. Those of you who know me know that PINN, or PIN, stands for pseudo-intellectual Negro nonsense. PIN is
I was not gonna get pseudo from P. I'm gonna be real.
Dangerous thing in the black community, because it's where intelligent or intelligent sounding black men and women get to say really dumb things, but in an intelligent way, and get away with it because it sounds right. And because they are pseudo intellectuals and not real intellectuals, they are much more invested in sounding correct than actually being correct. And you already know where this is going. The Joe Budden podcast has one of the most notable PINNs around right now, one Antoine Ish Marby. I think I'm saying his name right, no disrespect if I'm not. And Ish has kind of been the butt boy of Joe Budden for the last year or so, mostly because of him being like this singular hardcore Drake fan. He wasn't like really standing for Drake. He wasn't Mal or whatever the other dude from the old Joe
I was
Budden
thinking
podcast.
Mal from whatever podcast he's on. The real dick rider for Drake. The true Drake dick rider. Not Mal, M-A-L. They have the same vibes. Oof, that's rough.
was, but he definitely was struggling with watching Drake lose as handily as he did in that battle. And since then, he's caught his fair share of jokes, maybe even more than his fair share. But in doing that, he's shown that pen tendency to refuse to be wrong, to refuse from learning from certain experiences. A pen that makes a mistake presumes the fault of their mistake to be with someone else, while a real intellectual makes a mistake and then self-evaluates on why that mistake has been made. And I don't watch enough Joe Budden podcasts to say this is the case with Ish, but I kind of perceive that to be the case. I won't down that hill though. All that said, I don't want to pick on Ish too much because I think in this case, he's maybe being treated a bit unfairly by the audience because of how he comes off. And it's important to recognize that Ish is a successful businessman and real estate person before the Button podcast. He's not like a pure barbershop philosopher just saying dumb shit out of his ass. He at least has reason to see himself as an intellectual and as a successful and forward-thinking man. For I understand, he was in corporate America before he got into real estate. I believe he has a degree from Morgan State University, which is a top tier HBCU, probably top 5 among HBCUs. And I can tell you as an HBCU grad.
What are the other 4? I'm curious.
That like any university, there's a chance that someone gets their degree without becoming all that knowledgeable. They may know things.
There is a high likelihood from what I've seen. To be fair, I'm not an HBCU grad, but I did go to the HBCU for 2 years. So I have come across people. And to be fair, I've also come across people at the PWI who got the degree without being knowledgeable at all. Right? So I've also experienced that. Like, again, I told you about my project experience for whatever his old dude's name was. Graduated the same thing I did. Bro knew nothing.
But knowing things doesn't necessarily make you an intellectual. Being intellectual means also, along with like knowing stuff, is having critical thinking, doing real research, not just Wikipedia or YouTube or barbershop research, and most importantly, having reflexivity and self-reflection on your learning so that you're using essentially a scientific method towards your own attainment of knowledge versus saying,
I know this thing, and because I know this thing, I can use that knowledge to dominate a space or a conversation.
Even if that knowledge is outdated or incorrect. Quick sports analogy.
Or even going as far as to take that knowledge and then use that knowledge to justify why you are an expert in different ways, right? Like somebody who's very knowledgeable in like real estate or in corporate America, and if they're successful in that lens, now becoming an expert in like political or policy focused discussions because, oh, well, this person has money, therefore they must be smart and intelligent, right? They're smart in this way, or they're a good athlete, or yeah, like Ben Carson's a great example, right? Smart people in other, it's not necessarily Dunning-Kruger. Dunning-Kruger is a different conversation, right? This conversation is more about like the transfer of knowledge, about being like knowledgeable in, what I'm talking about, not what FD's talking about. I'm expanding on what he said. But like, being like, I'm smart in this way, therefore I must also be smart in this way. It's like an appeal to authority. You know what I mean?
To make this make sense, I'm a sports creator now. Y'all saw the Deion Sanders video. Y'all gotta respect my game now. So Bill Belichick, weird freaky frog with a 24-year-old girlfriend. We talked about that on the Twitch channel. I have to leave it alone for now. But along with being a weird freaky frog old man, he's also an extremely overrated coach. Like, I will die on the hill that he's probably the most overrated champion in all of sports history. He is great and knowledgeable as a defensive mind, but he only has the status he has, the rings he has, because he happened to luck upon the greatest quarterback in the history of football. And I hate that I'm saying that. I am an OG Tom Brady hater, but I'm a hater in the true sense in that I'm just jealous of his success. I have no reason to look at Tom Brady, no argument against Tom Brady as the greatest quarterback of all time. And proof of that is the fact that he drugged Bill Belichick's medium coaching, poor team building ass to 6 Super Bowl wins. And we see exactly what happened.
No, that's as if you believe the NFL to be completely, on the up and up and not totally rigged.
happened to Bill Belichick when Tom Brady left. He's out the league now. Whereas Tom Brady, if he wanted to, could come back right now and join the Steelers. Conversely, you have Andy Reid. Goofy insurance commercials aside, Andy Reid, for my money, is the greatest coach in the history of the NFL, mostly because he's made it happen. He's been an elite coach with a multiple.
I didn't even make a take, so you're projecting, Chatter. I didn't even say anything.
Of situations.
I didn't even give my take.
He's been a top-tier coach with elite QBs like Donovan McNabb and Patrick Mahomes, but he's also won with Mike Vick and Alex Smith and Kevin Kolb. And if you don't know ball, you probably don't even remember who Kevin Kolb is. This is because, unlike Belichick, Reid is a student of the game and of the world. Belichick and pseudo-intellectuals have a specific vision of whatever it is they're in, whatever part of the world they inhabit, and they force the world to always fit within that vision. They have no other understanding or framework for understanding things around them. Reid and real intellectuals have a baseline framework that they consistently update and rearrange and evaluate and change based on the data and information around them. So I want to be clear, when I'm calling someone a pseudo-intellectual, I'm not calling them dumb in terms of what they know, but they're dumb in terms of how they engage with what they know and how they engage with what they do not know. Because the reality is that pseudo-intellectualism, as you can see from Ish to, what's the dude name? What's this dude's name? I'm glad Babilla isn't editing this because he'd make fun of me right now. Come on, man. He used to be Iron Man friend, but then he got kicked off because he's a weirdo. I just did a video about this. What is this dude's name? Terrence Howard. The sheer will to force the world into little boxes and categories.
Okay, but to be fair, have you engaged with what Terrence Howard is saying? Right? Maybe 1 times 1 does equal 2. You don't know. It does not. You don't know. Have you ever engaged with what he's saying? Exactly.
So you can make sense of it is useful for pursuing material success in the capitalist world. That's why Ish can be as successful as he is.
1 times 1 can't be 1 because where did the other 1 go? Exactly. Exactly. And 1 times 2 is 3. And 1 times 3 is 4. Bada bing, bada boom.
You have people like Terrence Howard who managed to get invited to Harvard or Yale or whatever, clearly not knowing what the fuck he was talking about. Like, that's what pseudo-intellectualism can get you. And again, I don't know Ish, I just know
And honestly, even going deeper, and I'll push back a little bit, I don't even think like that's a product of his like pseudo-intellectualism. I think it's a product of like his richness. I think it's both, right? Because I think Terrence Howard's mind is not inherently like mush, right? He asks correct questions, right? He looks at what is already established and he's like, why does this work the way it works? And that's good. That is positive. That's necessary, right? We need people to ask these questions. The problem is that his money has insulated him from being told no, right? He needs somebody to be like, great question, Terrence. Right? This is why we do things the way we do things. Right? But his money and his fame and his influence has insulated himself from that conversation. Right? He doesn't need to engage with that. If I made the same claims as Terrence Howard made, I wouldn't be taken seriously. Nobody would listen to what I'm saying. Nobody would care. Questioning 1 times 1 is not a great question. I'm sorry. You're wrong. Chatter, you're incorrect. Like foundationally, you're incorrect. Everything should be questioned. When you are learning these systems for the first time, you should question why 1 times 1 equals 1. You should not accept that it's fact. And this is like high level math, right? In 3rd grade and 5th grade, they tell you to just accept it, right? But when you get to the collegiate level, right, you then interrogate why everything is how it is. What you took to know as like, oh, it just works in the 5th grade level, right? You then are forced to prove why it's that way in the collegiate level. Like y'all are at the bottom of like the beginning of the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Or the bottom of like top, like where you think you know everything, right? But as you learn more, you understand that like, oh, I know this to be true because it's super easy for me. But I don't know why or how we got to this being true in the first place. And that's important to then build up to why we get to new levels of math, right? You need somebody who will break the grain to be like, why is this true? Because maybe they're correct. Terrence Howard is not correct, right? Terrence Howard is wrong, right? But you need people to start thinking that way, because that's how you propel humanity into newer, different ways of thinking. If it was always just, oh, you take it what it is and you just accept it, right? Then that's not the case. I mean, in the sense of accepting it, you are told why 1 × 1 = 1. If you study it in the abstract math, you're because of the definition of multiplication, he's asking why it is beyond that definition. I think you're incorrect. Right? You're not 5th grade told, right, the reason why 1 × 1 = 1. When you're learning times tables, it's a times table because it's memorization. When you're in 3rd grade, you're told, hey, memorize these things. Right? You're not told to interrogate why, and this is just, again, the way that math is taught nowadays, specifically. And Common Core sought to like rectify this, to start to explain why things were so foundational. But Common Core failed because it was shoving too much information into the brain of children, essentially, right? And so previously, it was like, all right, just accept the fact that 5 × 12 = 60. Why is that the case? Doesn't matter right now. You'll figure it out in the future, right? And then that turns into like, okay, you know, that's 3rd grade. 5th grade, you're like, okay, this is what multiplication actually means. And then it's like, okay, but now accept algebra, right? We're introducing variables and the way that that variables work and the way that algebra works. You set equations equal to other sides of the equations and we start doing evaluations of expressions. Don't worry about why it works. Just understand that it does work. So that in 7th grade, you're taught, okay, this is why that works, right? And then it goes from there. It starts from like, okay, you accept why this works, right? So we can teach you this thing. And then it goes into the future saying, okay, this is why it works. I'm talking about 5th grade. I'm looking at the college level math. Terrence Howard can look at mathematical explanations up. He has the resources. He does it. I agree. If he was like 13 and 17 and thought the question, but he isn't, you're wrong, chatter. It doesn't matter how old you are, right? But point that I'm making is like, I don't give a fuck about Terrence Howard, right? The point that I'm making is that questioning why things exist in the first place is good and necessary. I don't know what the fuck you're arguing about, right? I don't fucking care. I'm saying that questioning why things are the way they are, even if you think that it's super foundationally easy, I don't care. Questioning why things are the way they are is necessary. It's important. And that's all I'm saying. I think somebody operating with the mind of like, you know, why can't we do this? Why can't this work like this? Is good. That is a good thing. That is necessary. And what I'm saying is that Terrence Howard is insulated from being taught. Especially why things are is good. Yes, I'm talking about specifically Terrence Howard specifically. I do agree with what you're saying right now. Then what the fuck are you arguing about? You're literally just describing what my point is, but in a contentious way. As I said before, Terrence Howard is insulated because he has money and has influence. He's insulated from being corrected about his information. That's my position. Because of his money, because of his influence, because he's taken seriously, because he's like a famous actor, he's insulated from having to actually be checked about his inquiries. But the fact that he does have inquiries, the fact that he levies the inquiries themselves is not inherently a bad thing. Right? I think that's a good thing. We should enable such curiosity, even if somebody's a 20, 30 something year old man or whatever. Right? Like I saw a comment about whatever. It's just too deep of a lore thing. It was about like gravity and the way that dams work or whatever. And I saw a comment from somebody in the comment section being like, why can't we do this? And the replies were like, hey, you know, it's great that you have this question, right? It's great you're thinking about this, but this is why we don't do it this way. And he's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? And then the comments were like, yeah, but like, you know, keep thinking the way you're thinking, right? Because we need more people to think outside the box to have technological breakthroughs. And that's true. I'm not going to shut down Terrence Howard and be like, you're too old to be thinking 1 × 1 = 2 or whatever, right? You're like, you approach that person by being like, I think it's great that you're thinking outside the box, right? But this is the reason why, or we come to this conclusion, right? Because that's how technological or mathematical advancements happen in the first place. Somebody thought outside the box. They thought, well, the way we're doing things now is not, I think we can do things better, right? And they make a claim, and then people spend decades proving or disproving that claim. And that is a necessary part of the way that information is disseminated. That's my only point. I think Terrence Howard is incorrect. I think he's wrong. I think it's funny to laugh at him a little bit, right? But I think allowing people to be curious, right, and to think about things is important, right? But again, I think like Yale or whatever, getting Terrence Howard to speak to like their students is not from a place of like enabling Terrence Howard's curiosity, but instead because Terrence Howard is a rich, influential figure. And so he's insulated from having to actually interrogate his beliefs. Right? Because it's twofold. It's one, we should enable intellectual curiosity, but two, we should also force people to have that curiosity to interrogate why they believe the things that they believe, how they came to their own conclusions, and whether or not it's foundational or based in reality. Right? But Terrence Howard didn't get that because he's rich. So people just listen to him because he's rich. And people think because he's rich in one aspect or he's smart in one aspect, that must carry over to like mathematics. You should have for negative consequences of it. Yeah. I don't think you have to be nice to someone who has minimal understanding of the topic and it comes into a field by insulting everyone around him. You're misunderstanding the point that I'm making. You're just misunderstanding. Like, and I'm not gonna explain this to someone who's just you're doing the thing that Terrence Howard is doing. You're just coming in without trying to understand the point that I'm making because you think you're correct. That's it. That's what you're doing. You're coming in here with your own, knowledge without listening to like the overarching point that I'm making. I'm not saying be nice to Terrence Howard. I'm saying that I think it's good that Terrence Howard had the thought that he had in the first place. I'm not defending Terrence Howard's behavior. It is the issue. Some of you need to shut the fuck up for a second and just listen before arguing a bit about your own preconceived notions. That's it. Y'all just be too busy trying to like be correct as opposed to like coming to a understanding.
ECU hustler bro when I see one, so respect due to that. But what happens when a pseudo-intellectual meets a real intellectual in an environment where they can't browbeat, out-yell, or out-argue people? Things can get real uncomfortable for the pseudo-intellectual, and that's what's been happening to Ish on the Joe Budden podcast. You have Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, a lifelong scholar and researcher, in a space where he low-key normally wouldn't be invited. Sorry to be shady, but like, there has always been highly intelligent black men from all walks of life, but having scholars like Mark Lamont Hill go from university classroom to podcast couch, that is rare. A lot of these podcasts thrive on not being challenged by real intellectuals, and their audience doesn't want to be challenged in that way either. The handful of people that are hating on Mark Lamont Hill are mostly hating on him because he understands things better than they do, and they don't like how that feels. And I get that to an extent because many, if not most, intellectuals are assholes and condescending and off-putting to certain audiences. So a shouty, not extremely highbrow show like the Joe Budden podcast, which once hosted Kevin Samuels back in the day.
Oh, right. This guy used to be alive. This guy used to be alive at some point. Y'all remember that, chat? When this guy was like living and now he's not? That's pretty funny.
Mark on as a recurring guest is special, and I love that he's entered Black podcast land, and he's doing a lot of good work challenging some of the awful opinions that go unchallenged in those spaces. And the result is a man like Ish, an intelligent, successful man
again?
who was highly...
Wasn't he sleeping with a white woman? He died of a heart attack? Something like that? That's what I heard. No Latina? Was it a white Latina? Died doing what he loves, cheating on his girl.
Regarded in many rooms he enters, feeling kind of sunned and like belittled by someone who is superior to him in this particular venue. Like you can see it in Ish's posture and like the frustration he has that he is presenting ridiculous things like believing the earth is flat as like, if you've ever argued with a real flat earther, you know they're not dumb. They're just...
Okay, I kind of want to watch the conversation.
Pseudo-intellectuals. They're actually usually pretty smart, pretty nimble, pretty quick-witted, but this is like a practice task that they have. That's a practice task that happens with a lot of pseudo-intellectuals because they love to argue and they get really good at it. The problem is they never learn anything in the process. To them,
with the flat Earth thing, I think it's a good example of what I was talking about. Like somebody being like, "Wait, I can like the way the sun moves kind of informs me that the Earth is flat. Is the Earth flat?" Like I think them asking that question, sure, yeah, that's fine. There should be allowed to be curious about the way that we live in reality. The problem is that as he's talking about, a lot of them are too stubborn to like learn and engage deeper with like people who know more than they do. And that's the actual issue. Yeah, anti-vax too. Asking a question about vaccines work. Is this safe? So that people could be like, yeah, like this is safe. Let me explain to you how it's safe. The problem is not them asking the question. The problem is their inability to take in new information. That's what makes them stupid. That's what makes them pseudo-intellectual, right? Not their curiosity and the interrogating what they're told, is their inability to then take new information and then readjust their position. They think that just because they came up with the idea themselves means that it's inherently more valuable than what other people are saying. And I do think that there's some value to it. Somebody being like, vaccines, I don't know if that's safe. Like that's a fair conclusion to come to. It's a fair conclusion to come to the fact that's like, that's like, how is vaccine safe? But you then must take information that you receive from people who are smarter than you and them explaining it to then be like, okay, you take that to guide your new position about vaccines being overwhelmingly safe, right? With the data that we have about vaccines, with the research that we have about vaccines, with the studies we've done about vaccines, right? But if you just reject that and be like, no, I still want to believe vaccines are unsafe because I came up with it in my mind and I'm just, I'm super smart or whatever, that's where it becomes an issue. Especially when people are insulated from the consequences of that behavior.
Viewing is just a contest to win, not an opportunity to learn anything. And now that Ish is in a situation where he's being forced to learn, he does not seem to like it. But what's really interesting in me and requires further evaluation and a little tact maybe is
like
Mark's...
You have to let people fail so they can understand why things are done in the way that they're done, right? You know what I mean? Like if you have like a rocket science class or whatever, where you make like you're making bottle rockets, and you're like, why are rockets this cone shape, right? I think it would be more efficient if they were square. If the professor was like, oh, you're stupid, Jerry, shut up, I don't think that's helpful. But if the professor was like, yeah, go ahead and make your square rocket. You make your square rocket, we'll make a cone-shaped rocket, and we'll see whose rocket's better. And Jerry makes a square rocket, and of course it fails because, it's less aerodynamic. Jerry'd be like, dang, why did my square rocket not go as high as your rocket did? Well, Jerry, this is the reason why. Well, because the cone is more aerodynamic, and it allows it to zip through the air faster than your square rocket does. Right? And then Jerry should be like, oh, that makes sense. And now Jerry's able to learn new information about this. But imagine a different, parallel reality where everybody's building square rockets. And Jerry's like, well, why don't we make them cones? Right? Why don't we make them cones that come to a little point? And they're like, shut up, Jerry, you're stupid. Right? And the professor's like, nah, let's hear Jerry out. All right, Jerry, you make your cone rocket, we'll make a square rocket. Let's just see what's going on here. And then you light the rockets, and Jerry's rocket goes up super high. And they're like, whoa, why did Jerry's rocket go up super high? All right, okay, let's make rockets of different shapes to figure out what's going on here, right? And they all make rockets of different shapes. And then they interrogate this behavior, and they're like, wow, I can't believe that, rockets that are of a cone shape go up higher than the other rockets do, right? And that's why it's important to at least understand why people come to their conclusions and to interrogate where their curiosity comes from, because that's how advancements happen in the first place. Somebody has an idea about how to make things more efficient, and if they were always shut down, right, we would never advance as a, species. Not to say that it means you have to take everything that people say completely seriously 100% of the time, and you must then change your methods to satiate 100% of the people, right? But it's about understanding that curiosity is how we grow, we expand, and it's necessary. And sometimes, most of the time, they're wrong, right? But that mindset is not bad to have. The curious mindset is not bad to have. One of the stories, we can't save everyone, we can just try to reason with them. They make their decisions about how they take what we give them. Nowadays, we have cock-shaped rockets to pierce the sky. We have evolved. True. But then you introduce money and power, and then they have a hyperloop instead of a high-speed rail. And that's a different conversation, right? And that's a different conversation. That's a similar conversation to like the Terrence Howard conversation. And like the problem is not necessarily that a curious mindset is wrong, is that people are insulated from the consequences of, or not insulated from the information, right? Elon Musk is promoted over the expert scientists because he has money, because capitalism enforces this idea that if you are rich, you are inherently better, right? The more money you have, right, the more inherently, smarter you are, right? And so that just reinforces the worst parts of the human psyche in their behavior. I think people forget that original anti-vax skepticism came from the Black community in response to the eugenics movement. It's perfectly healthy to be skeptical of things, yeah. And if we just disregard people just by consequence of them just not believing the popular thing, right? You're gonna lose people, and you're gonna we're gonna stagnate. And so it's important to understand why people are skeptical of things and approach them in a way that makes them receptive of learning why we do things the way we do things, while being open of maybe changing our methods if we are proven to be incorrect.
Politics and what he embodies, being a leftist, being a male feminist, etc. These are often things
I would describe
that
people
dudes
like Terrence Howard and Elon Musk as deeply incurious. They are confronted by experts and eschew them entirely. I don't think that they're inherently incurious. Again, I think that their positionality makes them so. Because why would you change your mind if you're Elon Musk when you have people who regale you as a god, essentially? Because you made Tesla and you're super smart, right? The problem is not their inherent incuriosity, it's their positionality and their fame and their money that insulates them from actually have to interrogate their beliefs. You know what I mean? Which is exactly what I said at the start of this conversation, is that Terrence Howard was insulated from the experts who told him things because he was given a speaking slot at Yale. and he was allowed on all these podcasts because he was a famous actor and he had money. And that's my point. Does anyone take Terrence Howard seriously? Well, he spoke at Yale. So at least Yale, you know, placated him. You know what I mean?
Ish will disregard outright. Not saying that Ish is red pill, but the types of dudes that are red pill tend to act like Ish. I'm just keeping it a buck with y'all. And those types of dudes watch Joe Budden, but notice how much love Mark Lamont Hill is getting from the general Joe Budden podcast audience, at least for now. Not like during the show the whole time. During the show, Mark plays it cool and coy and isn't like too demonstrative with the fact that he knows way more than everyone else on that couch. A different angle to take on this is shout out to everybody else on the Joe Budden podcast for not being like small-minded and insecure about the fact that they have a real intellectual there. In my personal experience, I feel like I've seen before is that dudes that are used to being the smartest people in the room, that enter rooms specifically to fulfill that role, hate when someone else smarter than them comes in the room and doesn't mind showing the difference. But them dudes are like, yeah, this is dope. We have a difference of opinion. We have somebody that is...
it's kind of crazy because like, if you are the smartest in the room and somebody smarter in the room walks in, that person can be your ally or your nemesis, right? Your enemy, right? If you are the smartest, like it's like if you are the biggest fish in your small pond, once a bigger fish comes in, you and that big fish can chop it up, share your stories about how you eat all the small fish or whatever, or you can try to compete with that big fish, and you're always going to lose if you are the biggest fish in that small pond, right? If you're that smart, you should realize that they're smarter, making you the actual smartest person. Yeah, and you should want to learn from them. You should want to engage with them, right? Because they can learn from you because you have different lived experiences. But if you're insecure and you're like, I don't like that you're smarter than me here, I'm supposed to be the smart guy here, right? You're actually the dumbest person in the room. Everybody else is totally open to learn from the smart guy. And you're like, F you, smart guy. I'm smarter than you. I'm going to go sit in the corner with my headphones on. Leave me alone. While everybody else is learning.
Intellectual and has a lot of knowledge in certain things, and it's not always smooth, but it's way better than like you would have imagined. And part of that does also go to Mark Lamont Hill, who is showing a lot of patience and restraint at times because he's modeling something that I think a lot of progressives and leftists also need to do, which is like learning how to talk to people for the sake of enriching and like spreading knowledge versus dominating and browbeating them and showing them that you're right and they're wrong.
True, which is why I have a disdain for debate culture, right? What Mark Lamont Hill is doing here is infinitely more successful than like the Unfuck America tour. Infinitely more successful. Infinitely more successful. Really just spreading knowledge rather than scolding people. Like it is. You're not trying to like, oh, I'm trying to debate and dunk on MAGA people or whatever. Like, you go and you're like, I want to have a conversation with you. You know what I mean? I want to figure out what you believe. I want to tell you what I believe and how I got to this conclusion. And maybe we can come to some level of agreement, some understanding here. Instead of being like, I'm going to dunk on you, actually. You're wrong and you're stupid for being wrong. Does anybody have a clip of that? Let me see. It was like Dean Withers on Steiny's podcast.
All right, guys.
Was it this?
Because I was such a good moderator.
That's a lie.
That's a lie.
She was talking about slavery or something, right?
See the clips. What is this whole she believes in slavery thing?
Oh yeah,
like,
so Emily ran with this.
Please help me.
Loves this.
No, I don't love it at all. I hate it.
So, no, but I mean the content piece. The content piece you loved.
Oh no. I want to make it incredibly clear.
Why'd you post it if you don't like it?
Yeah, because I want less people to be like you. and exposing you
nothing
to
to do
millions
with the
of
views
people.
and the money.
Okay, well, I have a question. Why do you think this clip? I just want to ask you one question.
Yeah.
So why do you think
this is the second? Wait, he went back. This is the second conversation. They had a second conversation.
Atypical to occur. So empathize with other people.
Yes, I lack the empathy.
You just told us that you wanted to apologize if you told someone to themselves, and they did. In fact, you said that you wouldn't feel bad about it.
I get those comments too.
Yeah, I get 5 million comments a day to come.
Of course, and I do too. But that doesn't change the fact that you probably should feel bad.
You
said that comment to someone. And then it should be the case that states have the ability to legislate on the legality of slavery. How do you take those two beliefs and make them fit together?
They're completely different things. We're talking about one.
Saying it's
but if
psychotic to
everyone
say
in the
that-
state, yes, obviously no. Like I'm not some like psychopath. Like I live in LA. I'm not some crazy right-wing person.
So now you're saying it's
But if
psychotic to
everyone
say
in the
that-
state wants something, sure, let them have it.
Okay, so you agree with the
no one's
Confederacy.
voting to bring back slavery now. Oh,
So
cool. So
I
10
just
crazy
want to
people in a
clarify.
state?
You agree with the Confederacy?
No.
But the articles of the Confederation.
All right, we
list
have to
state
move
threats.
on. We got limited time
like,
here.
These gotcha moments don't work on me. I'm not a like
Okay,
it's
Emily,
not
don't
gonna
get
work.
don't get upset. Don't get upset. We're just
No,
getting
it's
started.
just like dumb because this is like what liberals do and it's so
I know.
annoying.
Okay, so
It's
here we're
very
gonna move on.
lowbrow.
We're gonna move on. We're gonna.
Okay, we're gonna run this back. Actually, it's the beginning of the slavery stuff. Here, watch this.
Used a woman or you're not. And I
Well,
guess my question would be,
What about
why
the
vote for the
interview
rapist
when
over
she
the
came out
non-rapist?
after and she basically admitted that that was not true and then she started saying things like, oh, even like, you know, things you
she
could say,
admitted in
things you
an
say
interview it
could be
wasn't true?
rape. I mean, like, I'm sorry, I live in Los Angeles. I've known many athletes, actors, all this grew up with all of them. The amount of men I've seen, it's so interesting how as soon as someone's at the peak of their career.
How do you start off so hot?
Sorry, I mean, I thought that the topic was important, you know? Like, I legitimately don't see how, like, you as a woman could stand for someone that, you know, overturned Roe v. Wade, rescinding the right to get an abortion back to the state, leading, like,
I think it should be state
65,000
by state.
victims of sexual abuse. Okay, why?
That's fine. I think if everyone in a state wants something, go ahead and have it.
So if everyone in Alabama wanted slavery back, you'd be okay with that?
Sure. If everyone in the state wants it, go ahead. What do I give a shit?
All right. Well, let's go next topic.
Well,
It's like these questions are so funny
about that?
these questions
No,
are
no,
so
we're not gonna
funny
talk
because
about that.
they're meant
So
to trap
I
you
just
out.
I'm getting nervous.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
You understand that that was the same argument that the Confederacy upheld, right? So do you wish...
Dog, she just said she was fine with slavery. Like, does he not understand this? Does he not understand this? Like, he's sitting with, he thought he had an own. He's like, oh, so if everybody in Alabama wanted slavery, you want slavery back? And she was like, yeah. And he's just like, well, so you're being pro-slavery. Like, yes, she's being pro-slavery. She doesn't care. She doesn't care. This is why debates are not important or impactful. Like, you're not changing the mind of somebody who's like, yeah, I'm pro-slavery. What are you gonna do about it?
that the Confederacy won the war because, according to your worldview, the Union impeded upon the state's ability to legislate.
No, but it's
as
an
they liked?
irrelevant argument.
No, so you're glad that the Union won?
This is what I'm saying. All these things are it's like you're phrasing it in a way where it's like I could be like, yes,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't move the needle. It doesn't. Norm's gonna be like, oh, she's hyperbolizing or whatever. It is not changing minds, right? The problem is you're not interrogating why she believes what she believes, right? You don't want normies to be like, oh, she's insane. You want normies to understand why she believes what she believes. You need normies to understand why she believes what she believes. You need to peel back the layers of what she actually believes and interrogate the actual, like, yeah, you need to deconstruct. You need to deconstruct her argument, right? Because if not, you're just like, you're just letting her just be a Nazi. You're just letting her do Nazism in front of you. And you being like, wow, this is crazy. You're a Nazi.
obviously no. Like, I'm not some like psychopath. Like, I live in LA.
But it doesn't matter what normies care about. What you need to do is you need to give normies, right, the people who are watching this, ammunition to combat people like this in their life. If they come across people, and that's the only good thing that debates do, which can be done better with a conversation, you need to give people who are watching this the ammunition to address what she is saying to the people in their own lives. So the people who watch this are like, they have their own family members who are like, yeah, you know, if the states, like, this is never gonna happen, but if the states say bring slavery back, they should bring slavery back. Who cares, you know? Leave it up to the states. They're gonna be ill-equipped to deal with that argument because Dean is ill-equipped to deal with that argument. So at best, at worst, you're giving her a platform just to share this to you, right? And showing that you have really no argument against it. Right? Outside of being like, wow, that's crazy. I can't believe you're pro-slavery. Right? And at best, you know, you show that she's like insane, and maybe like the few people who were like, maybe she has some good points are like, you know, maybe she's a bit too extreme for me. You're talking about different people. I'm talking about the people who don't give a shit about politics. Well, they're not going to be moved by any of this argument anyway. You know, people who don't give a shit about politics are going to be moved by what Mark Lamont Hill does more than what Dean does. Right? People who don't care about politics are going to be like, I hate this, all this contentiousness, right? I hate the fact that we're all at each other's throats. I hate all of that. You feel me? But in a conversation like Mark Lamont Hill is having with Joe Budden, where he's just giving his takes and describing things, is a lot more impactful than just being like, explain your position to me, please. You're doing ad hominem, actually. You know what I mean?
I'm not some crazy right-wing person.
So now you're saying it's psychotic
But if everyone in the state wants something, sure, let them have it.
Okay, so you agree with the Confederacy.
No one's voting to bring back slavery now. Oh,
so
cool. So 10
I just
crazy
want to
people
clarify.
in a state?
You agree with the Confederacy?
No.
But the articles...
He's not explaining why that's bad, right? He just drops a talking point and he just lets it sit there. He's like, so you agree with the Confederacy? No, explain, right? Explain why, like, leaving things to the hands of the state is not to the benefit of the people living in, like, the country, right? And you can use slavery as an example of that, but you have to extrapolate, right? You have to expand beyond it's what the Confederacy did, because that's meaningless. That is meaningless to the average person. They don't care about what the Confederacy did, right? That doesn't impact their life, but they do know slavery. So you can use a talking point that, like, you know, historically, you know, slavery was something that was left up to the hands of the states, and then half the states, he's overestimating his audience. Like, you have to explain what the Confederacy is, how states' rights was involved in the Confederacy, and what decisions we've made, and how we've come to a conclusion as a country that, like, maybe the states are not best equipped to handle every single situation. Right? But, like, you can't just be like, well, that's what the Confederacy said. Because they're going to be like, one, I don't care, and two, what's the Confederacy? It's just not as impactful as, like, this, in my personal opinion.
Wrong. And what this shows us is that these men who might seem intractable on certain topics can be reached with the right messenger. My prayer is that a lot of these shouty men podcasts see the success of Joe Budden and try to find other legit scholars to chime in, to kill these echo chambers that these dudes don't realize they're in, and burst some bubbles with real knowledge, not just stuff you heard or saw on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook. Because at the end of the day, I don't think Ish got to where he is in life by being dumb. He is an intelligent guy, but the way he argues, the way he's responding to being wrong and being wrong publicly indicates to me, this is just my armchair psychology.
They said no uglies up there.
Did not mean to close that. Gosh darn it.
Black podcast. Because at the end of the day, I don't think Ish got to where he is in life by being dumb. He is an intelligent guy, but the way he argues, the way he's responding to being wrong and being wrong publicly indicates to me, and this is just my armchair psychology, that he's not used to being challenged on his ideas, at least not by people who disagree with him and are not going to back down to him based on his status or what he's accomplished in life or an insecurity about what they're saying. It's not every day that you try to argue something with a nigga and the nigga comes back to correct you, not just because he knows something, but because he literally wrote a book about the thing you're wrong about in the moment. That's a special internet moment. And I think it's good for everyone, so I am praying that there's more of it. I joked recently that the idea that we need more left-wing podcasts is false, but I don't know, maybe I'm speaking too soon. Maybe we need to have a whole like slew of these bad boys, a whole network of the left-wing soy boy alpha male podcast network. This is why I'm stuck over here. This is why this is why I'm stuck on YouTube.
This is why you should watch my new podcast that I'm watching called I don't have a funny name. I should have thought about this before I made the joke.
Really wanted to know why the fuck she was going there in the first place.
But I actually thought it might be good for all this flat Earth shit. That's the thought. That's what my other thought was. Like, if you can see the Earth's
aim that at that couch.
Yeah, that couch is the flat Earth.
Hey Mel,
couch.
you know why she went in the first place? Because they keep sending scientists up there. Nobody gives a fuck.
Oh God. Okay.
So they're trying to make the common person care. We talking about it. We ain't talking about no science. They had scientists stuck up there for months.
That's true.
Nobody gave a fuck.
We talked about it a little bit.
8-9 months.
Nobody cared.
They're flat earthers.
No, they're not flat. I don't believe that. Y'all aren't flat earthers.
I'm not a flat earther. I'm not. I don't know what the fuck it is.
I'm open to it though.
I don't
see that. That's the loophole, and I'm not a flat earther. All right, I'll be taking that. If y'all already talked about this, I don't want to talk about it. Please, have at it.
Yes. You didn't.
You said I'm open to it though. Well, I am curious. Why is he a flat? Are you not curious? I'm at least going to interrogate why. I think honestly, I think he's contrarian, right? And there's a difference between being curious and being a contrarian. I think Ish is a contrarian. I think he wants to be different, and that's different than being a curious person. He's just like, oh, all y'all are like, he's like, Mark's like, y'all aren't flat earthers. He's like, I'm not. Well, like he wants to be different. He wants to be different. I was just typing that 100% intellectualism through the lens of contrarianism. Yeah. He wants to be different.
Brian.
Maybe.
Wait. You can't do that. Let him go.
I will say, too many people. All right, podcasts, like, for me, top out at 4. You got 4 people in one room. That's too much. 5's too much. 6 with a guest, too much.
Are they fucking with me? I'm not being. I can't tell if y'all joking.
No, they're kind of serious.
Serious, bro.
Deadass.
They right there. You can talk to them.
Yeah. Deadass. I don't know what the fuck is up there.
So you don't believe like the people who've left the earth and look down at it? Oh hell no. Hell no, we don't believe them.
They don't believe in that, bro.
Hey, I'm not a flat earther. And
I'll tell you this. I don't believe we went to the moon.
Let me ask you a question.
Why we always get the same picture?
Because the same thing.
I know. From the same
angle. You go with Mark.
No way. I'm sorry.
Okay. There's a lot of information coming at me at that time. So like what does he mean the same picture? Like of the earth? Like he knows we have different pictures of the earth. It's not the same picture. It looks the same because it's of the same thing. But it's not the same picture. Like we have satellites that take pictures of the earth all the time. But it's of the same. Why is Earth the same? Been here for billions of years, by the way. It's the same entity. It's the same entity.
Thousands of years we've determined that the Earth is a sphere.
You got it, bro.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's not.
I'm not saying it's not. Come on. At least stand by it, right? This isn't somebody who's curious. This is somebody who's purely contrarian. He's like, I'm not saying it's not. But I'm not saying it is either. You know what I mean? Could be anything. Could be a square, for all we know. Who knows? Like, he doesn't care. This guy doesn't care. This guy does not care. I think difference between this guy and Terrence Howard is at least, I think Terrence Howard is at least invested in like math, right? I think he's at least invested in math. I think he actually tried to, you know, get into math. This guy is just like, yeah, I care, not care, maybe care, don't care, who cares? Who knows? I know, don't know. What do I know? Maybe, yes, no, maybe, so.
But you're not saying it is.
Exactly. Hey, look, you said without
you believe in gravity. Like if I jump up in it, it's gonna come down, right? If I came in and said I'm open to the fact that gravity doesn't exist, that would be like a strange thing, right? Because we have evidence of it. What's the evidence that the Earth could?
The math. Listen, Chad, I'm not gonna get into this with you. All right. First of all, learn the talking point before you come in here talking some crazy stuff. He said 1 × 1 = 2. See, this is the problem. See, y'all aren't cute. You are not curious. Y'all come in here with all these talking points against Terrence Howard. Get what Terrence Howard said correctly. We can laugh at Terrence Howard because at least we try to understand what he's saying and know that he's stupid. Y'all don't even know what he's saying. Y'all are just laughing at what y'all saw smarter people than you laugh at. That's it. Y'all saw Neil deGrasse Tyson laugh at Terrence Howard. You start laughing at Terrence Howard. Was defending Terrence Howard? Banned. Not a Terrence Howard defender. I'm not even defending Terrence. Mods, ban all Terrence Howard defenders. All right, ban all people saying I'm a Terrence Howard defenders. Ban them. Ban them all. I'm saying if you want to laugh at Terrence Howard, you got to at least know what Terrence Howard was saying first. Y'all are too stupid. Y'all are too stupid to laugh at Terrence Howard. Y'all won't even do the minimal effort to figure out what Terrence... Y'all couldn't even read his paper. I'm sorry. I read his paper. I read it. And I can laugh at him because I read the paper. Y'all ain't even do the homework. Y'all ain't even do the homework. Y'all are laughing at Terrence Howard without doing the homework. He ain't say 1 + 1 = 3. He said 1 × 1 = 2. Why did you read it? Because I try to understand what people are saying. I take in new information, right? And I come to my own conclusions on that information. I don't take what people say about things at their face value. Also because it was funny. Yes. Yes, and this is the problem. This is exactly what I am describing. Also, mods, you can unban that person if any mod is here. It's exactly what I'm describing, right? Is you have to interrogate why you believe the things you believe, why you think the things you think. And once you come to a conclusion about like, okay, this is why I think the things that I think, you can look at what other people think and interrogate that. I both read Terrence Howard's paper and I listened to Neil deGrasse Tyson criticize it. And I'm siding with Neil. Because Neil's correct. Terrence Howard is incorrect. But at least I understood what he was saying. Also, yeah, y'all like the long read is literally a pamphlet. It was like 2 pages. 2 pages. Literally, it's 2 pages. So if you're going to criticize Terrence Howard, you better criticize him correctly.
Could be anything
Let me answer that for you.
What's the evidence that the Earth could be anything?
Let me answer that for you.
This is your question.
Prior to that, we quote unquote knew for a fact the Earth was flat, right? Until it was disproven. Yes.
Not necessarily. It was an assumption that was made. Right? He's associating like something that is like an unproven theory with being known as fact. Siri just went off. I thought I said the... Stop. Sorry. It's funny you say this about Terrence Howard, but people on the right will make fun of Marxists without even reading the Communist Manifesto, so Terrence Howard is a new thought leader. True. He is a new thought leader. You don't understand. Theories can be general consensus until proven otherwise. Learned that in 5th grade. Yeah. Like it was not proven to be flat. Right? It was theorized to be flat. It was also theorized to be spherical. There's a lot of theories that floated around before we had, evidence one way or the other.
Yes or no?
It's a little different.
What's the difference?
If I say, I think there's nobody in that other room. Based on my knowledge, there's nobody in that other room. That's the best knowledge I have. And then I walk in there and see somebody in the other room. And then you're still here saying, well,
I don't believe you went in the other room.
So that's why I asked.
That's all. You may not have went. It's possible you could have told me that you went in the other room.
What if I sent you pictures? You see what I'm saying? Like, we have so much evidence of the Earth being around, but also just how gravity, how the planet works. I mean,
Again,
there's no scientific base. That's cool.
Again, all science is theory until proven or disproven. So, period.
I mean, sure, but this specific thing has been proven. Like, sure, if all science is theory until proven as being proven, like, not all science, all theories are, some things are laws. To be fair, those laws also have to be proven as well. So I can understand what he's saying. Like, the laws have to be interrogated to make sure that they are actually like laws of science. But like, with the Earth being round, like, you have to provide evidence that the general consensus is wrong. There was a general consensus that the Earth was like a disc or flat, and then there was evidence to prove that wrong. You must now prove evidence that the evidence was wrong, right? Because there's a new general consensus. You know what I mean? If anything, the laws are things we understand the least. They are just constants.
And you don't think
I think that as technology evolves, the shit that we know, we realize we don't know, and it keeps happening. We know.
Okay, well, okay, that's fair. Like, what they're saying is not entirely unfair, but they have not yet connected it back to why they specifically believe the Earth is flat. Right? Like, sure, the Dunning-Kruger effect, as technology expands, we realize we know a lot more information, but you didn't have to explain why this new information we're learning disproves the spherical Earth. You know what I mean? That's how it's foolproof with 36 pages. Oh, I ain't read all that. I'm be real. I read the Spark Notes.
For a fact this, and then some new shit come out, so, oh shit, we was wrong about that.
Like,
they told
Pluto
us
being
dinosaurs
the
had scales, and now they say, yo, they were covered in feathers.
That would be.
We don't know.
Okay, so they just have beef with like scientific consensus just updating with more information. They have beef with like scientific consensus changing and updating with more information. That's what they have beef with, the way science operates inherently. They're like, I like it when we had less information about things. Can we go back to that time, please? Can we go back to that time, please? Like, I mean, sure, I guess.
No shit until we don't know none of this.
When you was in school, it was 9 planets, right?
Sorta, yeah.
It was no sorta.
What you
It was
mean
9
zero?
planets.
9 or not?
Some people said yes, some people said no. Some said sorta.
Like,
Man, when you was in
You my
school,
age,
it was
dog.
9
It was
planets.
9 planets
It was
when you
9
was
when
in
I was in school.
Okay.
So there's no way it was 8 or 8.5 or
Sorta.
whatever when you was in school.
come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on. Pluto, get behind me. Your definitions can't change. Classifications can't change. Again, they're just mad at scientific consensus updating with more information, right? There was previous consensus that Pluto was a planet based on the classification of what we thought a planet was, or what we defined a planet as. Once we got more information about Pluto and the way it operated, right, there was general consensus in the scientific community to change Pluto's classification from a planet to like a dwarf or something like that, right? Like, that's just, they're just mad at science. They're just mad at the way science operates. Like, yeah, now y'all are saying it's, cigarettes are bad. Y'all were saying cigarettes were fine before. Now you're saying cigarettes are bad, called cancer. Wasn't like that when I was younger. They do know that considering something to be a planet or not a planet does not mean it physically ceases to exist, right? I honestly don't know. Right? Like, I don't have a problem with them asking this question about like, yo, what happened to Pluto? I was told Pluto was a planet, now it's not a planet anymore. That's a fine question to ask. The problem is when being combated with evidence of one thing or the other, then they're not receptive to it. Right? So I want to ask them, like, who told you that Pluto Pluto's a planet? Who told you that Pluto was a planet? And who told you that Pluto was not a planet? And who do you believe? Do you believe the first thing because it's the first thing you were told? Or do you believe the first thing? Because I think it's entirely fair and accurate to like be told that there's 9 planets and that Pluto is a planet, right? And then being told that there are 8 planets, that Pluto is not a planet, and believing the first thing, depending on who your source is, right? If the scientific community told you that there was 9 planets and your mom told you that there was 8 planets, it would make sense for you to believe that there was 9 planets because the entire scientific community was telling you that, right? But if the scientific, it's a matter of like who you believe, right? And trustworthy sources. But if the scientific community tells you that Pluto is a planet, and they come back and say, hey, we got more evidence, we decided now that Pluto is not a planet, why would you not believe the scientific community when they tell you the second thing, but you do believe the scientific community when they tell you the first thing, right? It just sounds like you're just doing the appeal to tradition. You just like things the way they were in the past, not because you have any rhyme or reason, not because you have any reason to believe the things you believe, right? The theory is that Pluto got melted away, or they melted Pluto so it got smaller. Who's they? The science community? This guy melted away Pluto? I knew it.
School.
Okay.
Now it's not.
Well, I mean, that's a little different. So it's the designation as to whether or not Pluto is a planet. Pluto's still there, but it's whether or not it's designated as a planet.
That's
but it's still
point.
there.
But my point is, at 1 minute, this was a fact.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the
and
same
then
thing.
next thing you know, we find out some more information and it's no longer a fact.
So you,
What's to say
No.
that we
Say
find
that
out
they're
some
not-
more information and what we thought was a fact is no longer a fact? That's all.
Bro,
That's my
if there's
question.
9 planets, we could find more, right? Or we could, right?
Correct. We could.
But
let me ask you a
But
question.
saying that there's an object on that table, either it's there or it's not.
You ain't seen it. Let me ask you a question.
So you're saying you only believe if you go?
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you believe Antarctica stops the bottom? That's it. It's nothing after Antarctica. It's nothing after the North Pole. You believe that?
Wait. What does he mean the bottom? What does he mean by the bottom? There's no bottom. There's no bottom. Like, does he think that like the Earth is a 2D plane? Like he thinks like this is like, sorry, this is a bad circle. I can just do this. He thinks like this is the Earth? And that like this part is Antarctica? And this part is like the Arctic, the North Pole? And so he's like, there's nothing after the bottom? Like, and gravity is pulling you this way? Is that what he thinks? And that like all the continents are like here? You know what I mean? Because that's not even what flat Earth is saying. Like, this is not even what like flat Earth is saying. Like flat Earth theorists don't even say this. They say that like, it's like flat like this. And that gravity's like this. Right? And the sun and the moon are up here. And that there's like a wall of ice all around the earth that keeps the water in, you know? So like, he's not even, he just looked at a map and he's like, that's representative of the earth. Like he doesn't look at like, not earthquake. Right, he sees this and he's like, not that this represents a sphere, but instead that like, this is the earth. And like the Antarctica is down, like actually down here. And that like gravity falls this way. At least from the way he's describing it, when he says top and bottom. There is no top and bottom of the earth. Or like in like there's no like there's no like going down past Antarctica. That's not the earth anymore. That's nothing. That's not how the planet works. So they just don't understand how gravity works either. Cause like gravity like is like this. It pulls down and up simultaneously. There's no gravity is a theory, to be fair. Gravity is a term that we use to describe a phenomenon in reality, right? Things get pulled to other massive things. Like that's what gravity determines. Yeah, it's a force. A real phenomenon that we can measure and perceive. Exactly. The attraction between objects with mass. That's a good way to put it, yes. So like, it exists. We can measure its effects. I don't think that's what he believes. He's just not describing what he means well. I think he believes the mainstream flat earth theory. Like this? But like, what does he mean top and bottom then? There's no top and bottom of this. Does he just mean like this is like the top? This is the top. And this is the bottom? Would you allow me call in via Zoom, talk about how to build solidarity? No.
I don't understand.
They
The
said
question.
Antarctica has a wall that stops
down.
you.
Does this after Antarctica? It's not Antarctica stops the bottom. That's it. It's nothing after Antarctica. It's nothing after the North Pole. You believe that?
I don't understand.
They said Antarctica has a wall that stops
down.
you.
Does this stop and does this stop at the bottom? They've proven that it's shit below Antarctica.
What? What? What is he talking about?
Huh? You lost me. We good.
I don't understand. I'm not
Like
disagreeing.
underneath
I literally
it?
don't understand what you're saying.
Dog. It's all right.
Underneath the ice?
It's the main part. Oh, we good. We could talk about this on Patreon.
Oh, let's get the 10. No, we're not doing that no more. If anybody has a point to make it and close this conversation.
My part. I'm not trying to close you. I'm saying I'm just surprised. That's all. I get the idea of saying that we can get more scientific evidence, but science is definitive on the spherical Earth thing. The only question would be whether you think science is lying or there's a lie about it, right? That's different. If you're saying there's a conspiracy, like we didn't go to the moon, that's different. But to say that like we don't have enough scientific knowledge after thousands of years,
like God.
Corey,
stop, man.
Corey,
Stop.
you're not on a podcast
He right, though.
for a reason. There's a reason Corey's not on a podcast or a broadcast. There's a reason for it.
All I'm saying is we know something and then we keep coming back and saying, oh shit, we was wrong about that.
Right, but
yeah, that's what science is.
We've seen it.
Okay, so Gail King. Gail King. I personally don't really give a fuck.
Would y'all do it?
They did look funny on the space dicks.
They did.
Mm-hmm.
Would y'all do it?
No.
No.
Okay.
I'm cool.
They moved on, I guess. I really want to know. I really want to know what he means. Like, what does he mean that, like, do you think that there's a top and a bottom? Right? A top and a bottom, and that there's nothing below Antarctica. I think he just may be stupid. He may think when people are drilling into Antarctica, they're doing it like this. Right? That they're like, there's stuff underneath Antarctica, and that he thinks that it's like this, actually. And that this is the Earth. And you think that they're drilling into Antarctica from here, going down, and that there's stuff underneath it. I genuinely think that's what he thinks. Instead of like, I don't know, when you go to the other side of the planet, like if you don't believe in like a spherical Earth, I understand how this would not make sense to you. But when you go to the other side of the planet and you stand on this side of the planet, you're not standing right here. Because you would be inside the Earth. Right? But you're standing on the planet. Right? Like this. And so you're drilling down like this. So when you drill down from here and you drill down from here, you're going to the same core. You know, you have the core, the like, you know, inner core, and then you have the outer core, and then you have like the mantle, bad mantle, and then you have like the crust or whatever. That's what you're drilling into. So like, honestly, I just think that most people don't give much thought to this outside of like school. Could also be mixing up the inverse hollow Earth theory, where we are inside the core of the Earth against the crust, and the sun would be the Earth's core. That's a funny theory, but how do you explain stars then? That's a more interesting theory that I've never heard. That like, this Earth's core is the sun, and then you have like a person. We're here, and here. But then, like, what about space and the stars? Space is inside. Inside where? Inside the core? Would I not see Jeffrey over there? Would I not be able to look past the sun to see like Greg? Right? Would Greg not be able to look past the sun to see me? Like, there's a fog? Like, okay, it's like, this is the Earth's core, and people are here, and there's like a fog that we call space. Like, all of this is like fogged off with space. So you can't see anything here. Now, how do planes work? So planes just like take you across here to a different place? Google image search hollow Earth? Yeah. That's interesting. Oh, this is interesting. So like the Earth is like inside of the, like, it's like the shell. And then you have the sun and the moon here. Okay. So my question would be, what's on the outside of the shell in this theory? Another shell? Aliens? Heaven and hell, obviously. Heaven's inside of the sphere. This is the heavens. How would make sense? That would make sense. You're a bad person. You're ejected from the shell entirely, and it's a bunch of fire. It's a bunch of fire. And if you were a bad person, good people get to live inside of the shell. They get to cross the barrier and live inside of the shell. This is the good place. Bad people are ejected from the shell and have to live out here in the bad place. It's kind of how the police universe works. W. Yeah, why not? Yeah, why not? I've never heard of this before. It's interesting. But like, okay. What's containing this outer shell? You see how we just zoom out, right? We think this is it, but then I zoom out and there's more stuff here, and there's another shell containing this shell. And what if there's another shell containing this shell? Have you ever thought about that? I bet nobody's thought about that before. I bet I coined this theory. We're gonna call it the recursive Earth theory. Recursive Earth theory. I can't spell. Boom. Boom. I've coined a new theory. Recursive Earth sounds smart to dumb people. I have coined the recursive Earth theory. It's all shells. What is this? I've never heard of this before. Turtles all the way down as an expression of the problem of infinite regression, saying it alludes to mythological idea of the world turtle that supports a flat Earth on the back to suggest that the turtle rests upon the back of an even larger turtle, which suggests that a column of increasingly large turtles that continue indefinitely. The exact origin of this phrase is uncertain. In the form of all rocks all the way down appears as early as 1838. Yeah, but they didn't put it in the sphere circles. So, boom. Consider it. Consider it. Anyway. Curse of Earth is already a thing. Nah, that's not the same thing. This is a different thing. This is a recursive hexagonal flat Earth map. Not the same thing as my recursive Earth theory. We gotta pick a new name. No, I don't. This is just a different thing. My name is better. Bada bing, bada boom. Anyway, when you made up is easier to grasp. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Anyway, that's where I'm gonna call it. All right. Adios, YouTube chat. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to me on Twitch.